And hello there, everybody, and welcome to Roll with Advantage. My name is Joe, and as has been the process here in the past couple of months, I will not be your dungeon master this evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it may be for you. That honor I bequeath to Mark J. Judge, sitting across from me here.
Shall bequoth it. So yeah, hello everybody. I'm not Joe, as Joe said.
Mm-hmm.
I am here to give you the third episode of the Silent Shield anthology right now. Now, for those of you that don't already know, which first off, I do want to give a special warm welcome to Watermelon Doggo of Wisdom.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 name. Truly.
Glad to have you. Wonderful. That's really cool. But so, Roll with Advantage here, we host a lot of long-form campaigns, and Joe currently is on sabbatical. A little bit of an interim from DMing. And in that time, I have taken it upon myself to run some shorter things. We have a campaign, a miniature campaign that's designed to last 6 or 7 sessions or so, called Rising Ash, that is going on right now, and that streams on Tuesday evenings. And then we also have this anthology series that we just do whenever we can, and I think it'll be more frequent from here on out, but it is called the Silent Shield. The Silent Shield is an anthology campaign, meaning that every session is like a one-shot. It is basically an episodic show, and the concept is that it's sort of the X-Files of Illica, our homebrew world that we run here on this channel. The Silent Shield is an organization that was designed to deal with extraplanar threats and aberrations and paranormal oddities that are throughout the Kingdom of Tarkir. And ideally, they solve these before the general public is ever the wiser that there was something going on. So, obviously with something like that, you can go on either end of the spectrum. You know, when you're dealing with sort of any sort of chaos coming in from all of the multiverse around the material plane, you can go cosmic and horrifying and Lovecraftian, or you can go Rick and Morty. And our first episode that we did a while ago, they confronted a aboleth, so that was on one end of the spectrum. The second episode, which was titled Rock and a Hard Place, was about a living boulder that fell from the sky, and figuring out that it belonged to a wizard who was hiding in the plane of Earth. So that was kind of in the middle. This episode that we are about to present you is on the far end of nonsense. This is going to be an episode that involves the Feywild, and involves a one-on-one of me and Joe's Silent Shield character, Lucien LePlume, just having a weird day that involves the planes of travel. So, another unique thing here is that these aren't usually one-on-one, but we're just doing it this time because it's what worked and it sounded like a blast, and I've never got to DM Joe in a solo thing before. And it's just, it's a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. A little bit of a role reversal going on here from what we've gotten used to over the past few years. So yeah, the Silent Shield overlay has been different every single time, which I find funny, and there's a different number of players every time, and they sometimes recur from episode to episode, sometimes not, but this is Lucien's introduction session, and he's also entirely alone, so no pressure, Joe.
Okay.
But the quality of this episode and the series as a whole is entirely riding on how cool Lucien is. I'm kidding. But anyway,
He's pretty cool, so it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Boom, confidence. That's what you got to come into this with.
Yeah, and I overall think that this is going to be a very fun one. Very low-key, very roleplay heavy session. So thank you to everybody who is currently tuned in. Thank you to our resident artist, Gemma, for making the Silent Shield logo that you see between the two of our heads. And thank you to Knight from the Everend campaign for making that fuzzy background that you see behind you right now. Or behind us. It's not.
Yes.
It's behind you. Okay. So I think we're ready to go.
The frisky
Ready to
clicker
get
says
started.
roll reversal, so this is a revenge episode. Mark?
This is not about vengeance.
You're not vengeance?
I'm vengeance. I am not vengeance. I am not Batman. I am not Robert Pattinson. I'm not even in Gotham.
I mean, you're kind of in Gotham.
A little bit. Yeah. I am in Chicago. And
yeah.
the past several times, they've wanted to film a scene for a Batman movie that looked particularly shitty. They've come to Chicago.
Which is kind of flattering, you know? It's like...
Yeah, it's like, cool. I'm glad you like us for something. That was insane. The first time I saw the new one, I was like, that's the Brown line. Like, that is legitimately just a stop that I've been to. Oh, man. There wasn't clown gangsters, though.
Damn it.
Oh, man. Gemma says, I mean, Cecily was killed that one time, so, okay, but she was brought back.
She was.
Which was abundantly kind. She was only dead for an hour. I mean, like, it really... You know, not that I'm sort of happy-go-lucky about it, but that really could have been worse, you know? If anything, it's, you know... Okay, let's just go ahead and get started.
I will say, if LS was DMing, I'd be more scared, because I did disintegrate her character, so I'd be more scared of that.
And Morgonix was gone for a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
I will say, I think, you know, because obviously I have a lot less stuff that I've DM'd on the channel than you, Joe. And the things that I have DM'd for the most part, I think I've developed a reputation so far of being the, like, gritty, dark, horror-themed one who really likes to bloodily murder NPCs.
Yeah.
Which, but, like, also, this is...
But also, you're just a fun guy who loves to have a fun time, too, you know?
I'm just a little rascal. I'm just, you know...
Not every session needs to have, as the frisky clicker says, emotional damage. It doesn't... They don't all need that.
Yeah. This one will hardly have any.
Hardly? Alright. Well, okay, now that you said hardly, now we just gotta get into it. Now I'm curious.
Let's go ahead and jump into this session.
Let's do it.
Okay. So,
let me
let's go ahead and pull up this peaceful harp music.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, get your...
Yeah, let me... Alright, I'm ready. That's not what it sounds like. Just gotta get the gravel.
LePlume.
Okay, if you haven't seen Peter Pan Goes Wrong, give it a watch. It's great. Broadway HD.
I want you to commit to that for 3 hours. Jesus. You ever give an NPC a voice that's heard, and then the players keep talking to them, and you're like, God damn it, I want to hear this voice.
Oh, yeah.
You're just sitting there like, well, then my sister said, and you're like, Jesus. Oh, man.
All right.
Lucien, we can talk for the whole time, but
we could, yeah. This isn't roll call, though. This isn't the talk show. This is the do show.
Right. This is the do show.
Yeah.
And let us get ready to do Silent Shield Session 3, which is titled Fire and Water and Satyrs and Grass. All right. So as the Silent Shields usually do, we begin in the bustling, old, and renowned capital city of Tarkir, Verdulka, and its many districts, many historic buildings, and not far from the castle, in charge of a very old and prestigious temple, is an elderly halfling woman named High Priestess Charlotte, a worshiper of the Nine and a close ally to the Silent Shield organization. You see, most people aren't ever allowed to know that the Silent Shield exists. There's only about 20 members at any given time, and there's only about a dozen or so associates at any given time that are not an agent themselves, but are permitted knowledge. Of course, the Queen is one of them. High Priestess Charlotte is one of those rare people that is not a shield, but has been deemed worthy to keep secrets, and to share knowledge and be close enough. As a very old and prestigious priestess, she has actually spoken to some of the nine gods before, had direct intercession. She has got quite a story of her own to tell. But most days, when business isn't that serious, she can be found in her private garden, attached not far from the residency that she has with the temple, entertaining some guests for breakfast and tea. And Lucien LePlume, as one of the older shields in the organization, you have been welcomed to breakfast this morning. So you're just chilling, having some breakfast. And I shall now introduce the three that you are having breakfast with. Of course, there is High Priestess Charlotte. She, dressed in humble robes, usually has a very serious look on her face, can often be seen shaking her head and mumbling mildly rude comments about people and things, but you have known her long enough to know that this is just all part of the front, and underneath you find one of the most caring and dedicated people you have ever met. She is sitting at the opposite end of the table from you. Not far from you is Sarai Farstar, codename Aurora. She currently is the oldest member of the agency that is still active. She still works as a shield. But she only has you beat by about 8 months. You are second place. She is also a fellow druid and warrior. To speak mechanically, she's probably like a druid fighter multi-class or something. And she is able to bring her unique knowledge from her own clan in Afera. All that knowledge and insight about the natural world that she brought over to Tarkir with her. Won't share her. She is sitting close to you. And you know that she is considering retiring fairly soon, which begs the question if Lucien is as well. And finally, the retired shield herself. The real old shield. She has not been active for over 20 years, but her career is so renowned that it's almost an unofficial rite of passage among the shields that new recruits need to talk to her at some point, and to do so is an honor. She was there the day the organization was founded, as was Sarai. Her codename was Trunk, because she was known to stand strong, take a dozen hits, and keep going as if she had never been hit. And her most legendary feat was descending into a portal to the abyss herself, and then breaking out with the head of a pit fiend in her grip. Nobody knows the details exactly of how that all panned out, but it is widely assumed that she could have killed a pit fiend by herself. And now she's retired and has tea. And here is Vivi. So, here's your quirky little crowd. You got Lucien, Sarai, Vivi, and Charlotte. And you are all sitting in Charlotte's garden, which I will go ahead and pull both of us to now.
Nice.
Gotta love an audible reaction to the art.
Love the little butterfly. Little butterfly is very nice.
You can hear some of the sounds of the city around you in the distance, but you are in a walled-off garden, which makes this a perfect place, not necessarily for discussing official business, but for being able to spend time with your fellow shields as friends without raising any sort of suspicions in public. You're able to talk a little more openly, be a little more cordial, and just kind of hang out with each other when it's not time for business. If anything, that is one of the reasons that the agency has kept Charlotte around so long, is she's able to provide some very much needed R&R to the group.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll now go ahead and dive in as you are all sitting around, and Charlotte will be the first to break the ice and ask you, Lucien, about the talk of the day, as she says, through a mouthful of oatmeal. Oh, this Blossom, that's her name, right? They here they're in town again, and I hear there's some talk of them joining your little organization.
Well, yes, there is. Ever since, Blossom has been within my care, and especially these last several years, she's shown, well, extraordinary due diligence when it comes to the work she puts herself forward to, and, well, in all honesty, she's a very, very talented fighter and quite good at inspiring those around her. So, I think that she could suit this work well. I think she's deserving of it as well. Obviously, need to have a trial run and make sure nothing's too overwhelming for her, but I don't see why they couldn't.
You see, Sarai is considering a little bit, and she just sort of, oh, I suppose all that's true, but I do have to wonder about that Satyr's disposition. Not exactly the most fitting of a shield. And you see Vivi at the other end of the table just, that's nonsense. You know, keeping your optimism in this world is actually a sign of great strength. I'm sure that young one has seen just as much hardship as the rest of us. The Feywild is a place of brutality as much as it is nonsense. Charlotte, did you put anything in the tea this morning? It's a little strong on my throat. No, Vivi, I think you're just having trouble swallowing. Oh, well, happens to a dragon folk when you're 89. Let me just... And she leans over and she just sort of dragon breathes for a little bit, trying to clear out some of the phlegm and elemental chunks that are just sort of in her gullet.
Well, glad you got that, figured out there.
Looking at the loogie that's on the ground now.
Oh,
It's like a poison acid chunk mixed with snot.
I wouldn't be surprised if that grew legs and started to run away.
He's gonna look down at his food, the oatmeal, and just kind of be like, well, and he'll scoot it a couple inches away from him.
Thank you, Charlotte, for the food. It was quite delicious.
Yeah, I can tell you really ate it up. Speaking of, Lucian.
See, he sips his tea.
Speaking of, do you plan on putting any pressure on this Blossom to join? Or are you going to leave it entirely up to them? Sounds promising.
It is, but you see, most of us, when we become a shield, we understand that there are sacrifices that need to be made. All of us have done it in one way, shape, or form. Blossom, they're in love. They have a son, a wife. They have a life outside of this. I won't apply abnormal pressure, but I do think she'd be good at it. And I think that she would think it'd be worth it if they're able to protect what they love. So, I don't want to force her hand, but I think she and I both know what's best for him. But who knows? I don't know. Blossom, well, they've always had a way with words. I'm sure if I exert too much pressure, they'll have no problem telling me to tuck tail, turn around, and get out of town.
Perhaps. You see Sarai nodding a little bit. Living a life outside of this is certainly something to cling on to. It's not that I would go back to life before my training, but if I had known how heavy the job might feel, I might have warned my family the kinds of things I would be bringing home, unable to talk about.
Yeah. It's something we all struggle with.
That is why I come for tea. And she looks over to Charlotte. And, of course, the tea. You don't need to lie to me.
No, the tea's good. About as good as the oatmeal.
Charlotte will squint. Just.
Oh, I jest, Charlotte, I jest. They're both very good. Just the oatmeal has a bit of resemblance to... Looks down at the loogie. Recent memories.
Vivi. Vivi is just going to clear her throat in response. She won't hack anything up this time.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that twice. But, but no, she'll just kind of. Well, I suppose I should already be off. Honor talking to the three of you as always. I should ask though, Lucien. This Blossom, perhaps you could have something the rest of us haven't exactly had a chance to have. A true protege, a replacement. Somebody that you know is going to fill your role as soon as you're gone. And with that in mind, maybe you'll finally consider joining me in retirement.
Well, listen. As outstanding as an offer as retirement is, believe me, I have no plans on quitting anytime soon. There's always too much work to be done, but no, I plan to go until I can't go any longer. Hopefully, still got many more years ahead of me. But I do see what you mean, and Blossom, I think, would do great in replacing me. Connection she has, the strength she has. It would suit her well. I just don't want any of the other shields to see it as a form of nepotism, you know?
Well, we do all work for the Queen, after all. Nepotism is the kingdom's way.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Charlotte kind of shoots her a glance like, is that the kind of heresy you can get away when you're your age? Oh yeah, you can say just about anything. No one's gonna slap me in the face.
It's pretty much tenured at this point.
Pretty much. Queen Omen loves me anyway. She wouldn't do a thing. Just when your time comes that you descend into a pit and fight off the abyss. Don't wait for a second pit to open up. Take your leave, Lucien. You've done more than enough.
And he nods and thinks for a moment, and we'll just sort of look back down at his oatmeal and kind of mush it around with a spoon a little bit.
And Sarai will lean over. Are you planning on finishing that?
You know what? I'm quite full. I had some good berries before I came. If you'd like some, help yourself.
And I'll slide the bowl over.
This is amazing how quickly those ruin the appetite. And she'll just quickly start eating. Not unusual for Sarai. She has a remarkable appetite.
Yeah.
So, as Vivi is getting ready to go, all of this is kind of coming to a close. The familiar face of the Taskmaster herself, codename Bridge, May, Shy and Fair, walks into the garden. And all three of the women groan as she enters. And she puts her arms up and just... It's not official. No business. No business. Calm down. She'll go ahead and walk in. And you'll see Charlotte just... Well, why are you always in your official armor if you're just here to talk? Because I have a job. Right.
Lucien will laugh at that, but it'll be like a stifled, like kind of like.
She'll go ahead and sit down and listen. If they're available, I would like to talk to Blossom today. Not officially, but just sort of feel things out before any sort of official decision is made on our end. I have quite a bit of faith, but of course, you know, I...
Yeah, of course. I completely understand. I'll find them. I know they're staying somewhere around town, and I'll send them your way whenever you'd like to see them.
Good. There's also, an interesting situation. And again, all three of the women groan. Just, okay, just stop. Listen, this isn't even an assignment, Lucien, but of all the shields we have, I figured it might be good if somebody peeks over and takes a look. There is a bit of a strange rumor that, a satyr has appeared in the small fishing village of Yerma.
Okay.
Now, I trust this wasn't Blossom unless they are really traveling quite quickly. Perhaps they know more of our secrets already than I assumed, but again, not even an assignment, just not even a tier 1, just somebody should probably go peek over at Yerma and make sure nothing's happening.
Of course, I can definitely do that. Not a problem. Being inside the city for so long, it doesn't exactly do me too many favors. I'd be more than happy to have an excuse to get out, be in nature for a bit.
Charlotte raises an eyebrow, just... So if it's not an official assignment, you don't have to pay them, right? That's the whole deal. You don't add this money to their retirement fund. You just... Charlotte, doesn't all the wealth of the material world go away in the hands of the gods? And she just... Still useful.
I mean, hey, Charlotte's got a point. I still need to look after my pension, you know?
I can throw in something extra, okay? It's a premium.
There we go.
Look,
Sounds good.
The only reason this really isn't an actual assignment is because the mayor of Yerma is a worried man. He's, well, he's been known to see strange things and raise a little bit of an alarm here and there when not much is happening. I remember once there was some report that he saw shark people visiting out in the distance in the shore, and well, by the end of it, it ended up being that despite all the official announcements and worry that he stirred up among his people, it was just a very curious and a very lost dolphin. So,
All right.
whatever it is that is over there, I am almost entirely sure that you just need to ask Mayor Albin what exactly it is that he has seen, and then try to figure out if it's anything much more reasonable.
Of course, I'll make sure. I'll talk to Blossom first. Make sure that this wasn't them. You give me a time and place, I'll tell it to him, and I'll head to Irma. Speak with this Mayor Albin, then. I'll get to the bottom of it, May. No need to worry yourself.
Oops. And she'll go ahead and get up. And just... He smells very nice today. Charlotte glances up at her. You're too busy, though, aren't you? Don't you have a job? And May just... Yes, I do. And she'll just promptly walk out, orderly, rigid posture, and leave the four of you again. And Vivi will glance around at the couple of entrances to the garden and... Okay, now I think I can go. And we'll just get herself up, and she will grab her cane and start to head off. Sarai will set down her/your bowl of oatmeal and put it atop her/her bowl of oatmeal, and also do the same and start to head out with just a little bit of a bow. And as she bows to Charlotte, Charlotte just sort of waves her hand like, all right, get out of here. And now it is just you and Charlotte. If there's anything else you would like to say, we can do that now. Otherwise, you know the place where Blossom is supposed to be staying right now, just a nearby inn. A place that gets so many visitors from so many parts of the world that a satyr would raise almost no questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can either just go straight there, or if there's anything else you would like to say to Charlotte, we can do that now.
Yeah, I'd say that Lucien would stand from the table, now being able to see his full attire and everything. His like long, fiery red hair. Currently in the city, he keeps it in a nice tight braid going all the way down to the small of his back. These layers of like leather and hide, greens and brown sashes, this chaos of just natural earthy tones. Accentuating his like long red hair, like I said, and then this like chin strap, this long red beard that he also has braided in the current moment. He's gonna stand up, he's gonna knock his knuckles on the table and say, well, Charlotte, as always, it's a great honor being invited to your table, having your tea, and looking at your oatmeal, and well, I look forward to the next encounter. And with that, he'll pick up his hat from the ear of the chair. It's a large, wide-brimmed hat with a red feather sort of sticking out the corner of it to match the red hair, and nod at her.
She'll give a nod as well, and mumble as you're headed out. He's sure you're getting paid. And with that, not a word more. And yeah, thank you for sharing the art of Lucien LePlume.
I thought I would have put it in the chat. That's okay though.
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
It's all good. It's all
I guess I no longer need to describe your character. I forgot to do that, but now we did it. Cool.
Hey,
woo!
That's all good.
All
man.
right.
Yeah, we're good.
So, let's go ahead and head out to the city proper. Pick up these marketplace noises. There we go. Just some calm, peaceful morning. People shopping around. You make your way through, and eventually, you get to the spot where the inn is, where Blossom's room is supposed to be. You check in, give some people some nods, make your way up there to the second story, knock on the door, slowly creak it open, and Blossom is not there right now.
Oh. Well, maybe she isn't here. That's interesting.
And he'll kind of look around the room. Are there any clues or anything in the room as to where she may have gone or where she might be?
Yeah, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Well,
Mr. Batman.
Okay, investigation. Yes, smart boy, +1.
Yeah.
11.
11. All right. You see what one would see in the room with an 11. The bed is not made, but there's no real signs of distress. There's no signs of struggle anywhere. It appears, if anything, Blossom left. Calmly, wasn't taken out of here or anything, but perhaps she left in a hurry.
All right. Well, I guess in this scenario, maybe she didn't go far. I guess hollering isn't a bad first step.
That he'll kind of like open up the window that like looks out and just be like, Blossom, you around here still? Kind of like cup his ear.
Yep, guess not.
Shut the window and he'll walk back, head back downstairs, probably to like an innkeeper or a barmaid or somebody that he can see to maybe ask.
All right. So you do get to the barkeep as they are washing some glasses and everything. It is a Goliath man, and the cups are just like little shot glasses in his big meaty grip. And he's got a rag just kind of twisting it somewhat aggressively. You can see the little straps of metal buckling and threatening to come loose as he's washing the inside of the cup. He just...
Hello. My friend, just had a quick question. If you have a couple of seconds.
I always got time.
Oh, it's a good thing. Most people nowadays don't have enough of it, so I'm glad to hear you're one of the ones that's got a lot of it. I just had a quick question. If you've seen a satyr woman, typically wears bright greens and whites and pinks. Their skin tone got some different colors going on in these sort of pinks and dark browns. Bright, very nice, very kind.
Yeah. She went running out of here a couple hours ago this morning. I asked her if she wanted anything to go, or if she was gonna turn in her key. She said, I'll be back soon. Just gotta check in on an old friend.
All right, well, she said she'll be back soon. I'm inclined to believe her. Well, thank you very much for your help, friend. Here, how about this? And he'll kind of reach into his coin purse. He'll set down a couple of gold pieces. Thanks for the information, and as soon as you can get a cup of mulled wine over to me, I'll just be waiting right over there. Thank you.
He'll just kind of walk over, and he'll, since she said that she'll be back soon, he's just going to pop a squat, sort of lean up against one of these booths, and just wait for her to show back up.
Okay. So you wait about 10 minutes or so. There's sheep outside. That's fun.
It's a busy city.
Yeah, there's a lot going on out there. Oh, there's so many. Wow. There's a flock going by outside, I guess. That's now part of the narrative. There's no other explanation for like 9 bleats in a row. um, but you sit for around 8 or 10 minutes before the mulled wine gets brought to you. He just sets it down with a, and then you
he'll groan back.
And yeah, you just sit, you enjoy it for a little bit, and another 10 minutes goes by. You're about halfway through it, taking your time. Another 10 minutes goes by. It's empty. Another 10 minutes goes by. Another flock of sheep walk outside. Another 10 minutes goes by. You're just kind of sitting there.
Listen, I got time, but I don't have as much time as that man does up there. All right. Well,
I'll kind of stand up.
thanks, friend, but I think I'm going to be a little bit more active, see if I can cover a bit more ground. Well, you have a good day now, and he'll head out.
As always. Okay, so make your way out, and where is Lucien headed?
And
I will say, just so you're aware, you have enough resources and knowledge within the shields that if you wanted to get to Yerma, you wouldn't really need to like go by carriage for a long time. You would be able to kind of just pop over there as long as you went and talked to Silva about getting you some teleportation stuff.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just sort of go outside, maybe into like a back alley, if I can find like a garden or something in this big city. He's going to sort of sit down and be like,
all right, well, city's too big for me to go walking about, just trying to find a needle in a haystack. So, let's see if I can have some friends help me out.
and he's going to sort of sit down cross-legged, crisscross applesauce, and he's going to sort of dig his fingers into the dirt, and he is going to ritual cast Commune with Nature.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. You briefly become one with nature and gain knowledge of the surrounding territory. In the outdoors, the spell gives you knowledge of the land within 3 miles of you. And the spell doesn't doesn't function where nature has been replaced by construction, such as dungeons and towns.
No, I said garden.
Okay. Well, you have a very intimate knowledge of this park. You instantly gain knowledge of up to 3 facts of your choice about any of the following subjects as they are related to the area. Terrains and bodies of water, prevalent plants, minerals, animals, and peoples, powerful celestial influence from other planes of existence, and buildings. All right. What would you like to do in this park?
In this park, I think that the goal in this park is to, I suppose, then just see if Blossom passed through here and in what direction she may have gone, sort of described in nature.
So she's a very kind satyr. Sorry, the mulled wine sort of coming back. The satyr, she wears bright pinks and greens and whites. She's got a pan flute for a shield. Any of y'all see her go anywhere?
All right. And you wait a little bit, and eventually nature does murmur back to you through the wind and leaves and some of the animals. And they all deliver you the message, not through speech, but through vibes. And you eventually realize that there is a small grove behind a few trees where there is residual magic energy. You see that not only has Blossom been in this area, there is a small place where somebody teleported from here outside of the city.
Well, all right.
So if I go to that area where that residual teleportation magic was, it's not something that can be reactivated, it's just something that was activated here.
Yeah, it was something that's there. and it's sort of like still, you know, like how glitter will always be in your hair
Yeah.
for like months after. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the magic is still in the leaves
Okay.
in the area. That's sort of the metaphysical druid shit way of
Yeah.
explaining it.
Okay, well, I guess I know exactly where I need to go. If Blossom is here and the magic is there, there's a satyr in Yerma. Thought it wasn't her, but I've been wrong before. Well,
Thank you very much. As he just looks at a leaf and says that.
and I suppose may talk to you later. Have a nice rest of your day.
And he'll go and head off so he can get those supplies and I guess head to Yerma, see if that satyr was her.
Okay. So the leaf kind of tips its hat to you. I'm kidding. But
Oh.
you imagine just
Flick his hat.
but yeah, so you feel sort of a you're welcome within the wind, and you exit the park. You head to Silva, who we do not necessarily need to have a whole thing there, but he is another contact like High Priestess Charlotte, somebody that is trusted with information, somebody who has very strong knowledge of the arcane as much as Charlotte has knowledge of the divine. And he is able to set you up with just basic teleportation stuff to Yerma. And you're able to explain to him that it's not necessarily official, but May did ask you to do it, and she did add it to your pension, so you do deserve these supplies. And Silva doesn't need to be pressed at all. He's like, oh yeah, no.
Exactly.
Only makes sense to me. Ask you to do all these things on your day off. And eventually, we'll go ahead and pop you over to the village of Yerma. It's not that many syllables.
Poppin' indeed.
Just kind of became that way. So let's see.
Yeri.
We do not want clearing out the town. We do not want scary forest.
No. No, I don't think so.
Let's do Forest AA. Nice.
That is nice.
It is very nice. You appear about a mile or so outside of Yerma, as is the standard Silent Shield precaution. You don't just boom in the middle of a crowd.
Hello.
But you sort of appear there, and you make your way in the direction that you assume Yerma to be, just a little bit south. You kind of get close to the edge of the water and start moving up. And eventually you do make your way to Yerma. We'll pull you there.
Yeah.
So yes, very modest oceanside fishing village.
What a cute
Seems
place.
like one of those places that is so tiny it hardly has an economy. It's just everybody catches fish.
That's fair.
And if you're not catching fish, you do something else to help out. And then at nighttime, we all eat the fish. And then there we are. It is very opposite of Verdolka in that way.
Man.
As you appear in this tiny town where there's maybe only 80 people, but somehow they felt a need to elect a mayor to keep a hold on things. As you approach, you see that the situation is not quite what you had been told. You sort of round a corner, and you see some people are still fishing. You see there's a pretty stern, bearded man who's leading the fishing group off in the distance, trying to not let his fishermen get distracted. But in the center of town, everybody else, probably almost everyone else that lives in Yerma, is just standing around a group of 5 satyrs. No question, no need to sort this out. They're satyrs, and they're all hanging out, being satyry, mumbling things in Sylvan, eating grass, walking like goats, and everybody else that is around the area is just like and quite confused. And you see a halfling man who is wearing somewhat nice clothes that have been dirtied by a practical lifestyle. And he's kind of running around just going, "Oh, no, 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 we use that grass for festival day, don't do, no, please, yeah. Okay, I know you're not a citizen, but oh dear, and he's just kind of walking away, very overwhelmed and anxious as he seems to have no control over this event.
Yeah, right. This definitely seems like the Satyrs.
And none of them are Blossom, just to double check.
No.
No. Okay.
No, they're just all... And they appear less familiar with the material plane and its ways. That is immediately clear to you. Like, they are... You hear none of them speaking common. There seems to be no sort of sense of, like, manners or etiquette or anything. They goats. Like, they're just, like, walking around, eating, talking to each other, playing little pan flutes, and
Okay.
as some of them are just kind of looking around at the clouds, like, but like,
Yeah.
they're so not Tarkirian.
All right. We can work with this. And Lucien will make himself be known just by walking in to the sort of town square, which Lucien himself is rather noticeable, being a 7.5 foot tall furbolg with bright red hair. Just say
Furbolg redhead.
Yep. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Oh, well, would you look at that? What's going on over there? Oh, sorry. Excuse me. My apologies. Pardon me. Excuse me, sir. Are you Mayor Albin?
looking towards the halfling man.
And he looks all the way up at you, just clenching his hands and fists, just, don't tell me you're another visitor from that other place. We can't be dealing with all these visitors. We don't catch enough fish in a day to feed all these people.
Whoa. Calm down there, friend. No worries at all. I'm from around these parts, so don't worry your little head, all right?
Okay. No, yes, you're speaking the common dialect. You seem to know your way. Okay, yes. Perhaps, then, you, great Furbolg from somewhere out there, have heard my warnings and are here to help. My name is Mayor Albin Cross. You can call me Mayor. You can call me Mayor Albin, Mr. Albin, Albin, any of those. And he'll reach out his hand to shake it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and share the anxious art of Mayor Albin Cross.
Yeah, there's a lot of anxiety there.
Yeah. Yep. Shoulders up.
All right. Okay, all right. Let's just take a deep breath here as he'll shake his hand, and
He'll shake his hand very slowly.
okay, all right. There you go.
You gotta remember, my lungs take in about 1/5 as much air as yours probably do.
It's all right. There we go. We're good. Don't worry. I heard about what was going on, and I thought I'd come over and take a peekaboo about what's happening and see if maybe I can help it out a tick or two. All right.
Okay. Well, I can run it over from the beginning.
Yep. Give me everything you got, Mayor.
Well, so these satyrs, they showed up one at a time. There was one just a few days ago, then another one, and then another one, and they just keep showing up, and there doesn't seem to be any sign of them stopping. And I go to them, and I try to talk to them, and I ask them what's going on, but I don't know if any of them speak the common tongue of, how do you say, this realm. I don't know. I don't know what they know. I mean, there's this one lady who comes in, a merchant who comes through all the villages once in a while. She visits Yerma about twice a month or so. She says that there are some natural creatures out there in the world that she's heard about that sometimes speak, what did she call it? Sylvan. Yes, that's the language. And perhaps these satyr folks, friends, the people here, perhaps they're speaking some sort of dialect or language of Sylvan that I've never heard of in my life. I don't speak a lick of it, but maybe you do, and maybe you could ask them what's going on. And they just show up. They're eating the grass. They seem
All right.
fine. They sleep outside. They're just
All right.
haven't bothered anyone, but
Okay.
but there's just more every day. I don't know, and it's a population problem. I mean, we only catch, I mean, they're gonna have to start fishing. Eventually, I mean, we'll just run out of. I mean, well, I guess they're eating the grass, but they're just taking it.
All right. He's gonna shush. I can tell you're starting to tire yourself out with a lot of them words. So just do me a favor. Why don't you go and just walk away for a little bit, go fish, something to calm yourself down, and with whatever I find out, I'll be sure to tell you, okay?
Yes, I will. I will go to my office and I will just catch up on that housing request that old lady Gebeli asked me for. We'll just deal with that.
That's what you do to relax?
Well, it's more relaxing than this, It's just.
Okay, all right. There you go. Go on,
papers,
then.
Papers are predictable and they're in nice squares. And
All right. He's just gonna like pick him up by his shoulders and just move him around away from the satyrs.
All right, go on now. I'll handle it.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you see him
You're welcome.
peek past you and, oh, good, the merchant is here. Yes, At least she'll distract the townspeople a little bit. It's just, okay.
All right,
And he will
all right.
go ahead and walk off towards his office, which is his house.
Oh, no, that's bad. You got to separate your work from your home. That's not good. Well, all right. Yeah, I'll let him have that one.
And his inner monologue will go,
Well, I just wanted to speak to that merchant woman anyway. Glad to hear she's in town.
and he'll make his way. He'll attempt to like walk past the satyrs, and at least in like alternating between common, druidic, and elvish, he'll at least try and like say like,
Hello, hi, how's it going?
in one of those 3 different ones, and see if anything happens. Like if they make any notes of that.
So you say hello, hi, how's it going in common? Nothing. Hello, hi, how's it going in elvish? Nothing. Hello, hi, how's it going in Sylvan? And one of them kind of peeks up and just, I think we actually got one of them. And the others kind of look over, just mouths full of grass, just, What was that? I think we actually got one. It's just this, that one.
Yep, this one, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Huh.
Uh-huh.
Where are you from?
Here. Well, not here, but this place generally.
Okay. I I'm from
A different place, right?
yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
This is strange.
Oh, you're telling me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one attacked us. They all just kind of stared, which is understandable. We stared at them too, so, but, I don't know. It didn't seem like anyone out here was grazing, so we started
So you started
cleaning
grazing.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Makes a ton of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got one quick question for you fellows. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just curious. How'd you end up getting here? It just seems strange, you know? From what the nervous little man over there was telling me is that, well, you all just kind of appeared day by day by day. Which that in and of itself is strange, right?
Yeah.
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 Well, okay, so I remember something about land and fighting about the land, and Elder didn't want to give up, and then Wow. I don't know. Oh, that's even weirder. I should really know. I'm in the. I, I'm in a different land. And I'm
Yeah.
not even thinking about. I think something real weird happened.
Ah, well, you know
Things
what?
get weird, where I'm from. Things just. Hmm.
You and I are coming to the same conclusion. This is definitely something weird. Well, so I'm assuming then, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you must be from a little place that at least we call the Feywild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
call it basically that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, great. Square one done. And then you said something about an elder that didn't want to give up a fight for the land.
Yeah. Iris is his name. We're in like grazing groups, and we usually just sort of move around and are calm. And
Mm-hmm.
there are some other satyrs that sort of, well, use their brains more, I guess. Use their smarts, and they get really into poetry and talking to people and telling stories. But then there's a lot of us that just kind of, just sort of hold down the fort, and just eat. And
Okay.
we were one of those. And Elder Iris is real old, so he's in charge of telling us where to go. But he really wanted to stay at this one place because the grass was really good, and there was mushrooms. There was mushrooms there. I remember that. Mushrooms are real good.
Mushrooms are pretty
Yeah.
good, yeah.
And usually you got to be real careful with the mushrooms because if you eat a bad one, you don't feel very good, and you start seeing weird things.
Yeah,
And
that's
sometimes
weird.
sometimes you're just dead.
That's
but
true.
but so real good mushrooms.
Good mushrooms, all right.
And healthy mushrooms and a lot of mushrooms, so we didn't even have to
Wow.
we didn't have to bet on them.
Yeah, mushrooms
You know-
and grass, too.
Yeah. Oh, I mean grass. Yeah.
Crazy.
What's a Satyr Grove without grass? It's so.
Yeah, right,
um,
right.
But yeah, I don't remember much other than that. It was just Elder
Okay.
Iris. He really liked the place, so we just kind of stayed instead of moving around. And I don't know. I guess we stayed too long, and now I'm here.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, you know what? Thank you very much for your information. I didn't catch your name, young man.
Oh, I have no idea what it would translate to. Let me think. And he's just gonna let out a slightly goatish scream, just like
Okay, well, we'll call you Mram, all right?
Ram. Okay, that works.
Mram, all right. Well, Mram. And any of the rest of you that showed up, do you have anything you'd like to add to what he said, or do you think Mram here did a pretty good job?
Let's just see one real young female satyr in the back just kind of look up, just with a mouthful of grass, just really good mushrooms.
Okay, all right. Well,
Yeah,
really
She's
good
right.
mushrooms.
she's right.
Mushrooms,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, hey, Mram, I want to thank you very much for all the information, and I promise you I'm going to get you back home to those really good mushrooms as soon as I can, all right?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Now listen, all right. Here's the thing. Okay, I feel as though at this point we're pretty good friends, right? We've gotten to know each other. We know where we're from. We both love mushrooms, and you know what? On any given day, I could go for a good plate of grass, you know? And
Yeah.
I want to get you home as soon as you can, but while you're here, and now that little man back there who is getting really shaky, you see, this grass is really special to them. They don't eat this grass; they celebrate on it. So, any of the other grass around the town, you can chow down on it, but this grass right here, if you could not chow down on it, well, that'd be very nice as visitors, you know.
Oh, well, I thought celebrate meant eat grass.
Yeah, you see, sometimes when we start speaking different languages, there's Well, there's a little bit of confusion. Things get lost in translation,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay, well,
I'm sure they understand. No reason to feel bad at all.
okay.
All right.
Well, hey, well, we could just go there. And the other ones are just kind of like, yeah, you know, that's grass.
Hey, looks
I'll
like a
just
good patch
kinda-
of grass too. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, that'll make it. I'll do. And before he could say much else, you see the merchant woman now is making her way into the rest of the group, and much to Mayor Albin's demise, it seems like her arrival has not really provided much distraction because you just started talking to the satyrs. And everybody was like, "Whoa!" They're just all kind of checking that out. But you see the merchant now kind of loudly with like satchels that are along her spotted horse. She starts taking out jars and bags and bundles of things and just, the fresh herbs. We have the fresh herbs right here. Somebody, you come over here. No, just get away. Get away. And you notice that this merchant woman is definitely studying you now. You know that feeling when you notice someone looking at you and your sixth sense just tells you they've probably already been looking at me for a while.
Oh yeah, especially with 24 passive perception.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, and you just notice that she very subtly has just been keeping an eye on you.
Okay.
And you notice it and you realize, oh, she probably clocked me as soon as she got here for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lucian's not nervous about it. He'll smile. He'll wink at her. Hey, how's it going?
And she'll kind of get back and
gotta throw them off their balance. She doesn't know how to handle that.
No, that was new. But yeah, she's just kind of vending as much as she can, and you hear her just, "Oh yeah, I brought the fennel. Oh, it's like magic." Well, no, it's not magic. It's just fennel. Well, fennel tastes like magic, you know. And you, all the satyrs under your expert persuasion, they just kind of all are like, "Yes, that's grass. Yeah." And then you hear one of the satyrs mumble, just, "I guess it was kind of weird that we were just in the middle of all of them." Yeah, but I mean, they didn't do anything. And eventually make their way off.
All right.
And yeah, Mayor Albin has not been roused. He's still in his house, and the satyrs are getting away. A very clear impression where they had been grazing. And the merchant and her horse are now entertaining the majority of the townsfolk that are not fishing.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. I do believe. Okay. So he'll kind of look down at where they were grazing and be like, well, grass will grow back. And he'll make his way over towards the merchant. And just sort of walk up and be like, oh, excuse me, sorry, pardon me, I'm coming through. Heard about that fennel. Fennel is like magic after all.
Oh, no, it certainly is. I'm very glad I met someone that has that same disposition. It's Mr. Rice Pilaf, get your nose out of there! And she turns to her horse, who has that name, and kind of just shoos him away from munching on some of the herbs that she tried to set to the side. And you gotta forgive him. He's just always hungry, more like greedy, really. It's here. Well, we got some of these here too. We got some of these just bushels, and she's just got like, and it's all just normal herbs. Like there's really, it's just stuff that it seems like she's picked throughout the woods in a fairly wide radius. In order to bring those flavors directly to people so they don't have to go do all that themselves. And people here, some of them have like little copper pieces or whatever that they've kind of gathered as different merchants have passed through, but a lot of them, this place is so kind of bare bones that they're just like trading stuff with her.
Totally.
You know? Like some of them will just be like, here, I don't need this arrow anymore. And she'll be like, oh, yeah, I could certainly put use to that. Yeah, sure. And just kind of just making it all work like that. She is definitely not in this for the hustle. But eventually, a lot of the stuff is already traded off, and she's, well, you're going to be wanting anything, visitor man?
Well, of course, I actually have a few things that I'd like to acquire from you, somebody of your vendor quality. But also, I have a few questions, if you don't mind me asking them. But here's one thing I'd like to do first before we get any further. I'm no longer stranger man, all right? You can call me Lucien. Lucien LePlume. It's great to meet your acquaintance.
Well, then you can call me Elna. I think I had a last name at some point, but sort of lost it along the way. And I will share the character art of Elna. Have a closer look at her. The hue of her skin was subtle enough to appear elvish from a distance, but as you get close, you realize that this is probably a water genasi, not an elf. The subtle watering textures along the hair and hairline and sort of throughout the skin reveal that. She is quite tall and awkwardly lanky, sort of like around 6 feet, and just a very limby person. And she has a very interesting scar or marking of some sort along her face. But otherwise, she just appears like a bubbly, curious-eyed woman. And there is Elna.
Nice. Very nice.
Okay, so questions for me, of all people? I don't know if I've seen too much, to be honest with you. I know there's a city out there called, what's it? Verlalda?
Yeah,
Something like that?
it's close enough. Most people don't know what you're talking about. Well, honestly, my memory is about as effective as a fishing net. Most things just slip right through. So I'd like to do the shopping first. I just really wanted some fresh rosemary and a little bit of mistletoe.
Okay. We should have some mistletoe here. And she'll just reach through the bags a little bit. And I got the mistletoe and the rosemary. Rice. There's a chew mark on this rosemary. You think I wouldn't notice? Okay, well, I can give you this little bit of rosemary. I don't want to give you the chewed bit.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, honestly, don't know if we need to do too much payment or anything. She's just kind of looking around, and you notice the crowd kind of thinning around you. And eventually, it's pretty much just you and her. Okay, I don't know if we need to do any sort of... Okay, listen. And she just immediately quiets down and leans in.
As soon as she does that, he says, yep, there we go. Figured we were getting there.
I saw you talking to them satyrs, and I know most folk can't do that. Yeah, most folk are too concerned with all these cities and places and all these material plane things to know such things as that. Now you look like some sort of important fella, and I need to let you know right now that this situation needs to be entirely handled by me.
Okay, all right. Well, you're throwing a lot at me, and like I said, I'm fishing net. Remember? Okay, so let's try and handle this piece by piece before we get too carried away. All right.
Well, you should be able to catch the fish, right? And this is pretty fish. The fish says, "This is my terrain." Did that make any sense?
There's a fish now? I thought we were talking about the satyrs.
Sometimes things make sense in my brain, and then they don't happen. I say them out loud, and
okay. Here, how about you let me talk and hand me the rosemary and the mistletoe, and then we can go ahead and get started. All right.
All right, and she'll just sort of plop over the herbs.
Oh, thank you so much. And I know you don't have very much use for this, but and he'll hand her 2 silver pieces, which is, in case you need anything on the ways. Well, thank you for doing business. I appreciate it. And see, look at that. Now we're no longer acquaintances. Now we're business partners. See, look at that. easy transition.
Mm.
So, I'll tell you what I know, and maybe we can come to some type of an accord. All right? I
All right.
work for a group of individuals who find that it's best that things that happen from other planes of existence, like the Feywild, like those fine young satyrs came from, it's best if they're handled in an organized fashion, with as little comeuppance and pomp and circumstance. So, that's what I've come here to do. Solve the issue with as little commotion as possible. Do it as politely and as kindly as I can, and then head on back for some more, not good tea, but good enough tea, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to try and solve the issue, and I'm also looking for, I'm looking for somebody that means a great deal to me, who also happens to be a satyr. So, needless to say, this incident in particular hits a little close to home. So, if you know how to fix the issue, I figured our skills together, we could solve it twice as fast.
You see her just kind of looking around at some of the trees, and then toward the water, and then back to you. Oh, okay. No, I got most of that.
Fellow fishing net, I see.
I'm not an. Well, I can't get my mind to focus on one thing. Just never works out. Much better at talking to trees and such.
Oh, believe me, I'm right there with you.
Okay. You see her just sort of vibe check for a second.
Yeah.
Eyes up and down. I'll tell you one thing. Never been able to tell a lie in my life, but I can always tell when other people are doing it, and I don't think you are. Well, okay. Maybe we have a little bit of some stuff in common, you know? I think. I'm trying to do this all subtle, like, too.
There we go.
Okay, now these people here don't know, but for the past 10 years, I've been pretending to be a merchant so I can come into town and check on things.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of a horizon walker?
Oh, of course I have.
Right, well, I'm one of those.
Oh.
Well, what's real nice about me is when I was getting trained, I had somebody tell me that because of certain things about myself, most people wouldn't assume that I would ever hurt a fly or that I was capable of ever really putting two and two together. So I kind of use that to my advantage. I just get around and visit people, and most of them never assume a thing. They just think I'm some weird merchant lady who hardly knows how to run a business, which I really don't. And they don't know that actually it's my sacred duty to keep watch over the Feywild and the Shadowfell in this region of the world.
Hey, Elna, you and I have more in common. Believe me, I don't talk slow and deep and take my time getting from point A to point B, just because that's how fast I go. No, I do it so people assume the least of me. As soon as someone thinks you're slow, it comes a lot easier to outpace them. Ain't that right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yo, I mean, I guess the only difference is I am a little slow. Just a little.
Well, that's quite all right with me.
I have been told I'm not the brightest bulb in the garden. I think it's just because I can't focus on... Oh, look at those birds.
Oh.
All
right.
We were saying something.
So let's get back to the point, the root of the problem here. There are these satyrs that are here, and they shouldn't be. Now, I'll tell you what they told me, and I have no problem if you want to double check with them, but see the main one over there, and he'll point to Moran.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll say, now what they told me is that apparently wherever they were, there was fighting happening. Conflict between different groups. There was an elder by the name of Iris that didn't want to give up the grove that they found. It was really, really nice grass and really, really, really nice mushrooms. They made it
Well,
extra.
the mushrooms are where it gets complicated, yeah.
Yep.
See, I've been popping back and forth between here and the Feywild a few days now, checking things as much as I can. I was supposed to come here today and see if I could do anything about talking to them. Looks like you got them out of the way as much as you could, but... Well, I tell you what, would you consider yourself a good negotiator?
Negotiating. Yeah, I can handle that. I think most people understand what I'm saying and see the reason in it.
Well, your words seem to make a little more sense than mine do. Well, okay. How about this? Not now, Rice. Not go, and the horse is just sort of pushing his way into the conversation, just kind of nudging into her chest, practically lifting her off the ground. Just no.
Do you want me to ask him to stop?
Oh no, he understands me. He's just like that.
Oh, okay.
Rice, no, come on. she'll bicker with him a little bit,
Okay.
and eventually just kind of get him to calm down, and Rice will dramatically lay upon the floor, eventually, just like... I'm just... Oh, you're fine, you big... You know, he's named after a really good food I had one time. You ever had rice pilaf?
Yeah, I have. Rice pilaf is very good. So anyway, negotiating.
Oh, yeah, negotiating. Okay, so... Well, there's the blunt way I could have solved this. I could have very easily banished the Satyrs back to the Feywild, but... Well, I've learned over time that if you do that, you usually just end up upsetting whoever sent them there in the first place. Well, so... I went up to the Feywild, did some talking to some old friends, and... Well, wouldn't you know it, my old friend Lord Moral is involved in this one.
Lord Moral?
Yeah, Lord Moral, he's... Well, imagine the shape of a person, but it's made of mushrooms.
Oh,
Anyway.
wow. All right.
So he's sort of involved in all of this. He didn't like that the satyrs were eating all the mushrooms. Iris really liked the taste of the mushrooms. And also somewhere in all that, there's a Naga involved in all of this. Some sort of... Naga is sent to protect everything. The point is, I could have been upset at somebody. I could have used my force to make some of these people play nice and play along, but I'm trying real hard to make everybody negotiate and get along because, well, I don't like drawing my bow in the Feywild. It's a dangerous place sometimes, and sometimes you just have to, but a lot of it is just people of strong wills just trying to get what they want. And I know what it's like to have a bit of a jumbled mind and not really be able to make sense of everything else around you, so if there's a way I can just get all of these little pieces to talk to each other and sort this out with any sort of fighting anymore, well, I think that'd be the best.
I would be most inclined to agree with you there. I think that would indeed be the best way to solve this issue.
You know, you make a lot of sense for a city person.
Well, I might be spending a lot of my time in the city, but believe me, I'm about as far from a city person as I can possibly be.
Oh, yeah. I had a partner once that was from one of the cities. I can't even remember the name right now. I spent all my energy remembering her name and her birthday. Well, but anyway, we just couldn't make it work out, you know. As a horizon walker, I'm a little busy, but I'm sort of tied to the wood, and she was sort of tied to her city, and we just couldn't live this life in between, you know. Those two birds are always singing up there. I wonder if they're ever going to find themselves a mate. You know, maybe they're just like me, singing, mateless, just going to go through the rest of the days, just wandering the wood. enjoying the berries, hanging out with their horse.
There's nothing
singing
wrong
songs.
with being maidenless.
Oh no, that's hold on. You see her like connect dots in the air for a second. You did say earlier that you knew a satyr, right?
That I did.
Okay. Now my memory's not the best, but I'm pretty sure I know the name of a few satyrs. Is there any chance we might be looking for this friend of yours?
Well, last I had known, they were in the Verdasmus, as you would call it earlier, Verdalka. Big city about that way.
Yeah, I hear there's almost 500 people there.
Yeah, maybe a little more. Doesn't matter. Anyway, they were...
500, oh.
Yeah, it's a lot, believe me.
It's like a swarm of insects at that point.
Oh, you have no idea. But regardless, they were staying in that city. In fact, they had a pretty important meeting that they were supposed to go to. And as I had said, they mean a lot to me. In one way, shape, or form, I consider them like a daughter. Well, I don't know what happened to them. They left in a hurry, and well, I wasn't able to find them. I thought maybe they heard about these satyrs and tried to do something about it. Their name is Blossom.
Blossom? Oh, by the trees! I haven't seen Blossom in years. Well, that's just wonderful. I didn't know she was hanging out in the area.
Yeah.
Must have slipped right past me.
When was the last time you saw her? Is that a couple years ago?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we took a little bit of a trip together, just walking around.
Was this before or after she met Eliza?
Oh, this was before. I remember the time she met Eliza. Well, I didn't exactly receive a letter. I received a message through the trees, as us nature folk do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she just told me she's going to be busy with this new chunk of the life and might not be able to visit too much anymore, but we used to just sort of walk around. I think she liked having someone in the area that reminded her of other things,
Mm-hmm.
Not all this material plane business with your city's full of 500 people.
Yeah.
Well, okay. You know what? I'm supposed to be real secret about my business. But you need help.
Mm-hmm.
I know Blossom.
Mm-hmm.
You're in my wood.
Mm-hmm.
This is my wood. There's a problem in my wood. I'm gonna fix it.
All right.
Okay. Well,
All right.
after talking to these satyrs, I was just gonna go ahead to the Feywild myself, but perhaps we can just go right there now.
Well,
I
hey.
tell you what, if you want an easy way in, I've got a few access points all over the region I use for the Feywild.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Shadowfell if you have any reason to go there, but I hope you don't.
Well, I hope I don't either.
There's some nice folks in it down there.
Oh.
Stargrazer. She's another one. You can always trust the goats. Well, with my planes at least. I hear with the hills you can't trust the goats.
Oh, that makes sense. So you said there are a couple of access points to the Feywild here?
Oh, yeah. Mr. Rice, peel off. You're going to need to stand. We're going to the Feywild. And you just hear him and just calmly get his way up. Okay. Well, perhaps we can just pretend that we didn't have this conversation and these town people have been none the wiser, and I'll just walk away, you come find me, and make our way over there.
Yeah, of course. I'll go say something to the mayor. Tell him just a little simple thing that I've getting it taken care of. I've just got to go out into the forest a bit, and I'll be back before he knows it.
All right.
All
It
right.
was nice meeting you.
Lucien.
I'm so bad with names. Lucien. Okay.
Lucien.
Lucien. I will think there's about 12 little memory blocks left up here. I'll put that name in one of them.
And you know what? If it's not, that's all right. You can just call me Stranger Man, and I'll know who you're talking to.
Oh, you're not Stranger Man anymore. You're Friend Man, if anything.
Oh. All right. Well,
All right.
I'll take it.
Come on, little Ricey. And she'll
Little
hop atop
Ricey.
the horse and just kind of pat him on the side and just going down the trail is not so bad as long as you don't hang your head. Come on, come on. And eventually Elna will be off.
All right. Very good. And with that, he'll kind of nod and he'll turn back and he'll just inform the mayor exactly what he said. You know, there's the Satyrs don't belong here, but he will handle it. He'll probably be back in a couple hours a day, and that he's directed them away from the festival grasses.
Okay. All I will say is that when you enter Mayor Albin Cross's home office, you see him. He's just sitting there going, and just like straightening papers and putting like writing utensils in rows and stacking coins and just okay.
All right.
And you give him the news, and his organized little heart is very relieved. And that's about all that needs to be said.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
So you can make your way off into the woods. Elna very purposely made herself somewhat easy to find for you. She left tiny druidic symbols, just turned branches, plucked leaves,
Nice.
something that she must have, and you realize as you're walking that she must have, despite all of her bumbling frenetic energy, she must have very accurately gauged your abilities, what you're able to bring to the table when she was making her judgment call. And she must also know quite a bit.
Yeah.
There is, I mean, she's not even a druid, and just all of these very subtle signs that she's able to put up to lead your path are very impressive. As you eventually make your way over to the access point, you see her just sort of, she has rice peel off by the cheeks and is like, right, you need to chew the medicine, chew, and just kind of like manually moving his mouth so that he eats something.
Yeah.
I also realized I never shared the art of Mr. Rice Peel Off, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that just
Oh my
just for
goodness.
funsies.
Oh, look at that.
There he is.
What a stallion.
Yep. Yeah, she's just, there you go, you chew the medicine. Well, I see you found your way over to me. And
Indeed
she
I
says
did.
that without even looking up, as if she was aware of you from paces away. Well, this next part confuses some people, but I trust you'll be okay with it. And she pushes a few branches out of the way and just sort of readjusts some things, and then suddenly it appears, as you look between these two trees, that the trees have almost become a gate, and a branch that is hanging over them has almost become the rim of a portal. Because what you see is not a arcane sort of shimmering light or a ripple or a mirage of any sort, but you see that above this branch, between these two trees, is the material plane, and below it is a completely different trail. It has different lighting, different plant life in it, and it seems to defy any sort of logic in the environment around it. You peer inside, and, well, as you probably already know, it's a mirror plane and all that, so whenever you go to the Feywild and the Shadowfell from these places, we'll be ended up in the exact same spot. So all we really need to do now is make our way back over to the village of Yerma in the mirror of the Feywild. but we're going to need to take a little bit of a winding path to get around it to avoid some folks that don't like me too much from some previous business and some really deadly vipers and medusas and all that. So, you know, it might take a few hours, but we can take that time to catch up, get to know each other.
Exactly.
I'll try to learn your name. I already forgot it.
That's all right.
Oh, okay. And she will just kind of grab the branch and just hop in to the trail. And Mr. Rice Pilaf will start walking in, and she'll kind of just prod him at the nose, just, why don't you hang out with your squirrel friends, okay? This one might get I don't know, you might get a little antsy, all these people talking, and all these mushrooms walking. And she'll just kind of push him back, and Mr. Rice Pilaf will just kind of glance at you and just sort of walk off.
All right. All right. And Lucien, being a little bit older, as opposed to swinging in, he'll just kind of like how you do when you want to get into a pool, but you don't want to jump off the edge, he'll just kind of sit down on the ground and then sort of scooch off into it.
Scoot into the Feywild.
All right, there we go.
Okay. And I will pop you both now to Feywild Path. All right.
Dude, nice.
So you're now in the mirror of the Feywild. The game has been paused for 2 hours. I don't know why. It didn't really need to be unpaused, but I just suddenly noticed it was, and we've been so going. Anyway, that's a little funny, but you pop into the mirror of the Feywild, and it's just everything is thicker, more vibrant, sharper colors, more intense trees that seem like they've been there for thousands of years instead of hundreds, and their roots wiggle and writhe with life as if they are walking creatures. And this portal, this pathway that you see, it kind of just leads on and on. You can't exactly see where you are yet, but Elna seems very confident that she knows her way. And she just looks to you, Lucien, and says, well, if you want, I could tell the first story. And she just starts talking. And you don't know how long you're going to be on this trail, but as Elna goes on and on and on about whatever comes to her mind, I will spare you by calling our 5-minute break.
Okay. All right.
So,
Good.
we will be back at 5:48 just to do the final chunk of this, the getting to the place where the negotiation is supposed to happen that Elna has sorted out, and seeing how that goes.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for being tuned in, and let's go ahead and pull up that break screen. We will be back.
And we're back.
And we're back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Roll with Advantage, and I am not Joe, and this is not Salamander Coast or Explorers of Ephera or Isles of Avarion or Rising Ash. It's not even that one. This is Silent Shield. Woo, 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 woo. All right, so it's shocking to me. Maybe it shouldn't be, but it's shocking to me that I might be the more chaotic dungeon master of the two of us. I don't know. Maybe that shouldn't be a shock at all. Maybe I just don't know myself. But,
who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well. Yeah. So we are doing a one-on-one session for the Silent Shields right now. Normally, this is an anthology series about a group of people that are protecting Tarkir from extraplanar and paranormal and aberrational threats. But right now we're just doing this one-on-one session about Lucien LePlume solving a minor problem and trying to find Blossom. So, thank you for everybody that has tuned in so far. Right now we are in the Feywild with a very talkative, very scatterbrained Horizon Walker, and we are getting led to a place where negotiations are supposed to happen between everybody that ended up on this bit of land and had some sort of disagreement and caused satyrs to start teleporting into the material plane. Confusing situation. Joe, have you had fun so far? Have you enjoyed yourself?
Of course I have. So much. It's fun to just to vibe. And that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm vibing away.
Yeah, this is a very vibey session for sure. We've had some good moments. I think your rapport with Elna was immediately what I hoped it would be when I was putting together this session. And pretty much only the people who played in the Silent Shield demo nearly a year ago know this. But I have had the character of Elna created for months. She has just been one of those people that is just an NPC in my head, and I've known that she was going to be in the Silent Shield at some point. So this has been a lot of fun for me. And yeah, I'm having a blast. And now we're in the Feywild.
Now we're in the Feywild,
where shit gets wild.
Oh, shit's gonna get wild. It's gonna get
shit's getting wild.
Oh yeah, man.
So let's get them forest sounds playing. Get that track titled Wistful playing.
Yeah, this track that's playing right now is almost the Lost Wood theme from Zelda.
There's a number of them that are almost Zelda. Haven is almost Zelda music.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wistful definitely. Children of the Forest, kinda.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also what's that one called? It's like Fairy something.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Fairy Hideout.
Yeah, and that one is very reminiscent of the fairy hideouts in Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
I wonder if it was inspired by. Probably not, though.
I would not be shocked.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked at all if it was. Would not be shocked at all if all of this royalty-free music was inspired by Zelda and similar titles. It's great stuff. I'm glad we got it. But yeah. All that being said,
yeah, let's do it.
Go ahead and dive back in, as Joe would say, to session 3 here of Silent Shield. So, Lucien, under the guidance of Elna, you are now walking. Gotta get that voice ready. You're now walking through the Feywild on a path. Elna seems very confident. She knows the way she's going. And as I said before we went on a break, she is telling stories to pass the time. The impression that you get is that of somebody who has a lot of interesting things happen to them every day and then never gets to tell anyone. So she's just going. She's just going
Yeah.
and going for a
Yeah, of
long
course.
time. She tells you about all of her attempts to find a romantic partner and how being out in the woods, being a horizon walker, always got in the way, and it just was never quite able to work out. She tells all of the stories of just random animals in her patch of woods that she knows and have mildly interesting characteristics. Like she goes on for at least 3 minutes about this one squirrel that has a crooked ear,
Oh.
and how she has seen that squirrel about 5 times, and every time she's like, "Ah, it's the one with the crooked ear." Um, the things of note, though, she tells you a little bit about finding rice pilaf, and sort of their bond that they have formed, and how when she was first assigned this patch of woods to watch over by the people that trained her, Mr. Rice Pilaf was the only friend she brought with her, and they've known each other for 10 years now. And she also tells you a little bit about the golden scar on her face, and the reason she has that. The question is, from a roleplay perspective, Lucien, are you like really present for all of these stories, or are you sort of just nodding and walking?
No, Lucian, he's very kind and considerate. And so when people tend to prattle on and on, he definitely tries to, be an active participant in the conversation. Even if they're going to steamroll over what he says, he's still going to try and be, oh, wow, really? Oh, my goodness, that's interesting. Maybe towards the end, he would be zoning out a little bit more, just because if it's an hour of that, that'll wear away at anybody. But
Yeah, it's like 2. It's like 2
yeah.
hours of...
Yeah, the first hour he was all about it. And he was like, oh, yeah, I love learning about new people. And the second hour, he's like, oh, wow, you got a lot locked in there, don't you?
Yeah, for someone with poor memory,
Yeah, here. See why you can't remember my name now. So he'd try his best to pay attention, but that second hour, unless something like noteworthy is brought up or interesting to him, then he would kind of he might zone out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So as you've heard all about all the partners and all the squirrel ears and all that stuff. You eventually, Lucy, and you get toward about the 90-minute mark, and you're like, ooh. She is still same pace, same cadence.
Oh,
And
yep.
eventually, though, you just catch something as you're almost tuning out. You just catch. But that's what made the Plane of Fire so interesting, It's all those folks. Oh, well, we should be getting fairly close,
Plane of Fire. Interesting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you see this marking on my face here is actually meant to ward off fire. Had to chase down a dragon one day,
I'd chase one down. What was the goal? Shoo it away, or something a little bit more deadly?
Well, this dragon found himself in the Plane of Fire because he was very attracted to all the brass and magma and such.
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally that wasn't my terrain, but apparently this dragon... Well, it's actually a little bit of a long story. And, of course, that... After 90 minutes, that kind of is an interesting comment to make. It's a little long of a story, but... Well, the point is, this dragon had been spending some time in the Feywild and then eventually left and made its way all the way to the Plane of Fire, so I did a favor for a friend of a friend and chased it all the way down, but... Well, I know a caster buddy who was able to do some sort of ritual on me, and he said, this might ruin your even skin tone and your good looks, but I said, well, didn't get into this for the looks, Yeah, so now I've got this. Rice thinks it feels kind of weird.
Well,
you know, I'll tell you what. I don't think it looks weird. I think that it is. I think it's interesting, and it's a fun topic of conversation paired with a good story. Although it's not technically a scar, I find that when it comes to trying to attract a mate or a maiden, sometimes it can help a little bit. Adds a little bit of mystery to you.
Well, you think so? Oh,
I
you know,
do.
I gotta be honest, I don't talk too much about the Horizon Walker stories. I find all the other stuff a lot more interesting, to be honest with you.
Well, you see, now, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, of course. That's not my place to do so. I believe it's each individual's right to decide what they want to do for themselves. And at the end of the day, Elna, whatever makes you happy, you should do. But if you think finding a mate would make you happy, honestly, most normal people, the things that you do, they would find rather exciting, daring, interesting, and I can tell you there'd be no end to the amount of questions you'd get about the things that you've done and the places you've been. In fact, you've been to the elemental plane of fire to hunt down a dragon. Well, that's that in and of itself right there is at least worth a second date, you know.
Huh.
But hey, live your life how you want to live it. And you know what? If no one has found you interesting enough, that doesn't mean anything bad about you. It just means you haven't found the right person yet. That's all.
Huh. Really never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
I guess it... Huh. You know, to me, the squirrel thing is more interesting.
Yeah, a squirrel is interesting, don't get me wrong. But remember, not everybody's like you and me.
I'm told that's what made me a good Horizon Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to all these little things most people just pass by, and, well, I notice when things are changing. Huh. Does get a tad lonely, I guess, wandering around, but, you know. Well, I mean, I got Mr. Rice Pilaf. But I guess I'd never worried too much about the business of it all. I don't see it as too heroic or anything. I mean, my last partner was a baker. Her job was to bake bread. My job is to hunt dragons sometimes. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Come to think of it, she... And you see her just kind of like dot connecting again, just... Oh. Oh, well, there was that one time she told me that whenever she would try to ask me about something interesting, I'd get distracted and talk about something else. Well, maybe she did want to know.
Mm-hmm.
I have a real hard time determining what's important sometimes.
And that's quite all right. There's nothing at all wrong with the way your brain works, all right? No need to worry about it. Sometimes we just need a little bit of poking and prodding in certain directions to make us realize. And you know what? At the end of the day, you didn't know before, but now you do know. Life's all about learning. Listen, I don't even want to think about how old I am, but every single day I'm still learning, whether it be about plants and natures and animals or interesting people like yourself. Always learning something new.
Yeah. I do think I've learned something a little bit. Friend man. Well, these are my favorite leaves. And she'll just kind of absent-mindedly, all of a sudden, out of the conversation, walk up to a tree, pluck one of the leaves, and just start tearing off little ends as she continues to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Just, why is this so fun? Um, and other than that, she'll just kind of continue on her way.
Okay.
So, you do eventually arrive at the place where this meeting is supposed to happen.
All right. Okay, let's let's see how this goes.
So, as you arrive there, you get to the end of a trail, and it's been a very peaceful walk so far. You know, you've hardly seen any of the wonder and mischief of the Feywild too much because you've been in such a dense trail. But suddenly, you see just this flock of crows descend, and they seem to descend in a particular shape, sort of almost like a arrowhead shape. And they all land, and the lead one looks up to Elna and goes, "That's what?" And Elna looks down. "Rue, correct!" And they all fly and scatter away. And you see a lodge ahead of you now,
Okay.
in the trail. A very interesting lodge indeed, built into this large open clearing with these almost bonsai-like trees growing in strange crooked angles. And as you get there, okay, well, this was the place we were supposed to do it. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and give a whistle, and then we can all sit down out here by the main grotto. Okay.
All right.
And she will go ahead, walk out, and she'll just kind of do some, like, almost shapes in the air, and you can see just a faint magical trace moving throughout the wind as she's doing so that quickly fizzles out a second later, and she presses her hand against the main bark of the tree, and for just a few seconds a whitish yellow sigil appears and glows, and then it goes away. And the bark just kind of slightly misshapes and reforms and fills in like that never happened. And she says, "Well, okay, they should be arriving pretty soon. I had a little bit of a thing set up. You know, this place, speaking of squirrels, if you couldn't tell, they're one of my favorites. This used to belong to a fey squirrel a while ago.
Did
Story goes, she got involved in some material plane business, something in Tarkir, and, well, been out there ever since. Used to be friends with her, though, so she told me I could always use the lodge, even when she's not around. I guess even though she's been gone for 9 years now, still counts. She's been around a long time. Maybe she'll be back soon."
DM.
Yes.
Is Lucien familiar with the couriers of Coldober and Orville?
You certainly know Orville. Roll a history check to see if you remember Rue. Because that is definitely a historical footnote.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
It's not, it's not like general knowledge.
Yes. Smart boy. +1.
Yeah.
Oh, shit!
Ooh, nice. Filthy 20.
Yeah.
Okay. I like how you've only rolled intelligence in this whole thing. That's
Luckily,
funny.
I had a ranger to do all the survival checks for me. That way I didn't have to flex my +9.
Yeah. All right. With a 20? Yep. And I don't need to tell you anything because you literally made Rue a while ago. But yeah, you know the story of the couriers of Coldober that helped stop the war against the Shepherd and Psyche the Eternal Winter. And you remember the story of the old gnome wizard Orville Silverpen and his magic squirrel companion Rue.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see, because, oh, that's right. Would he know because, oh, man. Is Rue still alive? I feel like they are, right? Or
Rue is, according to what you said 2 years ago, yes.
okay, yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah, Rue is. I remember this because I was playing Orville, yeah, Rue is still alive. Orville, before he sacrificed himself, asked Rue if she wanted to go back to the Feywild or stay with her new friends, and she said stay.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So she is still out there in the material plane, living it up, looking like a mostly normal squirrel that is actually like a 2,000-year-old spirit.
Yeah, just vibing with Warren and oh geez, Felicity's character.
Yeah, Lilith.
Lilith. There we go. Don't hate me, Felicity. Okay. Okay, cool. So Lucien will sort of nod his head and say, "Thank you. I just had pierogies delivered." We'll nod and say,
Well, Elna, I hope it'll provide you some comfort that, well, I've actually, I've read quite a bit about this Rue. And at least as far as my knowledge would lead me to believe, Rue's doing some good work. Remember that city with about 500 people that we had talked about?
Yeah, Recalma?
Yep, that one.
Yeah.
Well, Rue, at least as far as my assumptions lead me to believe, is working with a couple of people that are in charge of managing the city. And, well, if Rue's being Rue, she's probably trying to keep nature at the forefront there, make sure it's not trampled on by them city folk. But...
Well, that is good.
And I'm glad to know that you two are such good friends and that she lets you use her lodge here. It's quite a nice place.
Oh, it is. She collected so many things. Took her 100 years of acorn trading and stick gathering to get everything for this. All magically preserved, though. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and take a sit.
Okay.
All right, she'll calmly sit down, and eventually, one by one, the guests of this very interesting meeting will begin to arrive.
nice.
So, first
Oh,
off,
goodness.
there is a very old, slow-walking satyr that makes his way up. He's got a curled staff and a very strong, haunched posture. And he kind of uses both hands on the stick and just hobbles his goat feet along as he comes up and looks up and just... Here is the site of the meeting. Just... Oh, well, yes, yeah. Ah, yes. And he just calmly makes his way up and sits among the two of you. And I will share Elder Iris.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that guy. Ooh. Your spine
then
ever in the shape of a shepherd's cane? Jesus.
Yeah, he's really, he's real old. And then second, a more regal, albeit goofy as hell figure begins to show up. He's got a mighty sword that seems to be made of a sharpened growth, a cloak made of grass and vines, and the creature itself is a bunch of fungus. Just a lot of fungus. As the regal Lord Moral steps up and he smacks his blade on the ground and goes, and Elna turns to you and says, I'll cast tongues on everybody. And
Much appreciated.
and I will now share Lord Moral.
Oh, my goodness. That dude fucks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. And finally, you just hear a... And through a patch of trees out of the side of the trail suddenly emerges a massive snake. This just like 30-foot long green python creature with this flared cobra belly. But as it looks up at all of you, you see an oddly humanoid face on it. A face that looks out of place and, quite frankly, to material plane standards, silly and weird. Just on this very normal snake body. And it looks to all of you and says, "Hello, new friend, visitor to the Feywild. My name is Papa." And I will now share...
Oh, Papa.
Papa. And...
Jesus Christ.
like a funhouse version of your breakfast from this morning.
Oh, goodness great.
The 5 of you are all now sat around at the lodge in the main grotto. Elder Iris, Lord Moral, and Papa are all... I guess some of them aren't sat, but everybody's coiled.
Yeah.
Flumed. I don't know. They're all around,
of course.
though.
Uh-huh.
And Elna goes around, and she just places one thumb to her forehead as it begins to glow, and places that same thumb sequentially on all 4 of you.
Thank you.
And now, for all intents and purposes, everybody here speaks common. Mostly to the benefit of Lord Moral, but it will also help make sure that there isn't any weird language barriers from second-hand languages and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is just leveled out now. So this won't be like the first satyrs you talked to.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So you're all now sat around. And Elna goes, "Okay, friends. All of you I've talked to before, well, except Papa here, but I understand there's been a little bit of a disagreement over a little bit of land, and, well, you know, it's my duty to watch over this part of the Fae, and I really would like to solve this without any of the trouble bleeding over into the material plane. And if I gotta be honest with you, well, that's where my line was crossed. Because now, this, fine friend... Lucien! I remembered it! His name is Lucien. Okay.
Yep, there you go. You got it.
Oh. Lucien had to get involved in this now that this bled over into the material plane.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. Actually, we seem to be getting along. You know, he said some really nice things to me right before I started plucking at a leaf earlier. And, you know,
And I think what Elna is trying to say here is, due to my experience and the group that I work for in the material plane, that with our help, we might be able to come to a reasonable agreement considering what's happening. Just for a little bit of context, there's a group that I work with that their job is to keep things that are extraplanar, that exist outside of the material plane, away. Not in a negative way, but make sure that those borders between the realms stay structured and strong. Now, we ran into an issue just a little bit ago where there have been satyrs that have been popping out into a small fishing village. Now, a lot of questions arise, people start getting distracted, and I want everybody at this table to know that I'm not mad, I'm not angry. At the end of the day, I just want people to get along, and I think that, well, I've got a lot of friends, and I'm really good at making them, so hopefully we can all leave these tables today friends.
So you have seen my flock. Does the grass grow tall where they find themselves?
Yes, the grass does go, well, not tall, you know, it's, you know, maybe, in really bad spots about ankle high, but that's probably about as tall as it gets. Tell you what, though, they are getting their fill, though.
Well, it is my hope that they be safely returned, and we are able to return to our new home. And Lord Moral smacks his sword upon the ground. That is the problem, Iris. That was never your home. It was the home of my folk that you began to nibble.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
They were so good. Lord Moral just kind of, do you know the precise climate that is needed for certain mushrooms to grow? You are a nomad people. My people, lest they be blessed like me, are stuck to the ground. They have their one home and they can never leave.
Oh my goodness. That's...
And you go to their sacred home and you chew and you clap and you gnaw and you hum num num all over.
Oh my. Nom nom nom, and I see. Well, thank you very much for your, what issue you have with the satyr staying there. Now, as far as I heard from your flock, Iris, they were staying there because of how good the food was, the grass, and then also these mushrooms. Also because it was safe, correct?
Yes, it was safe. We truly have been trying to leave our nomadic life for some time.
Mm-hmm.
We see many other satyrs living among the Fey folk, and their lives are full of music and mirth. We nomads aren't granted such privileges.
Mm-hmm.
We become close with nature, get to know her ways, but we do not know the ways, people, of thought and thinking and stories. We thought we could settle. It was in my age and wisdom I decided it was time to try, but the first place we settled upon was inhabited by a cruel spirit, being known as a Corrid, a fellow that sought to tear up the ground in search of gemstones and ore. The grass was ruined, the trees derooted. We had to go.
I'm very sorry to hear about that. Well, now we have a group of nomads that wish to settle down, and currently they're in a place that it seems has already been settled. Now, before we go any further, Paw, you said your name was, looking towards the Naga.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of curious what role you play in all this. From your perspective, of course.
Right. Well, it is my sacred duty to guard the patch of land that those satyrs were on, so I banished them.
Oh, simple as that. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. And he's like, oh my God, somebody who said something in like a sentence. Wow. Oh, that was awesome. Okay. And he's going to note that and he's going to be like, Pawpaw, I like that guy. And he's going to look back towards Iris and say,
It's a cool face snake right there.
yeah, we love that face snake. So he's going to look towards Iris and say, all right, now, Iris, I understand where you're coming from. As somebody who has spent a long part of my life as a nomad, sometimes your legs, your arms, your spirit gets weary. You want a place to hang your hat, to relax, not having to worry about moving for your next meal, just wanting to stay in one place, focus on other things. I completely understand that. But the issue is, Lord Moral here, those mushrooms that you all have found yourself enjoying to feast on, well, they're his people. Now imagine for a moment if you and your satyrs had settled somewhere, all right? And then a group of giants came along and they started eating your flock. And they said, Well, yeah, but we've been wandering for so long, and the satyrs just taste so good. Well, that wouldn't feel very good, would it?
This is true. This is very true. You see him just like genuinely considering.
No,
Oh.
I don't blame you. I've had a lot of really good mushrooms in my time, but these mushrooms are different. All right? Now, Iris, I'm not just going to let you hang out to dry, all right? I'm not going to say, well, figure it out on your own. It's hard trying to find a place to settle. So you know what? Provided that you agree to leave Lord Moral's grounds so your flock ceases to be banished by Pawpaw here, provided you agree to leave, I'll help you find somewhere new to settle here. I've got a way of speaking with the plants and animals and trees and the wind, and I think that we might be able to find you a good place where you can settle, and I'll even do one more than that, all right? As soon as we find you a place to settle, I will even enrich the soil for you. Make it easier for your people to learn how to do a little bit of farming of their own. That way you can really hit the ground running when it comes to studying music and art and stories.
There is one flaw with your idea. His attention turns to Lord Moral.
Mm-hmm.
Damage has been done. We need to expand. And the best place for us to expand is on the already trampled soil of the Satyrs' last home. We must be helped in doing so. And, Iris just sort of, well, we can't use the trampled land, torn up by the Corrid. We can't eat the mushrooms. I guess we'll have to go to some third place, removed from this whole situation. And Pawpaw just sort of, well, I do believe there's another problem as well. You see, all of you have actually trespassed on my sacred defending territory, so truly I need to banish all of you. Or kill. I'd rather not do that.
Well, no, I don't think anybody wants that. All right. How about this? I think that I figured out our best solution. Okay? Iris, as I said, I'll help you find somewhere else for your people to go. Feywild's a big place. I'm sure that we can find somewhere. And then on top of that, if it's removed from all of this, well, you don't have to worry about interacting with people that banished your people or threatened to attack your people. You'll be removed. You'll be able to start fresh. Lord Moral, same situation. Now, I understand you need a precise climate for your children and your people to grow. So, how about I help with dealing with this Corrid? I'm a man of many talents, and, well, we can try our best to handle that, and I know a thing or two about fixing tilled ground, ruined soil. I can help cleanse it, and then you and your people will have a new place to stay, away from Pawpaw here. All three parties get what they want. Granted, I know, Lord Moral, you don't exactly get to expand, but believe me, being somewhere safe where you can cultivate a good life for your people is going to be a lot better than spreading yourself so thin, and on top of that, having to fight Pawpaw here. Seems like a very genuine person, and last thing I think that they want is to get into any sort of altercation, especially with someone like you, Lord Moral.
Oh, that is absolutely true. I do not prefer to use my poison spittle.
And I would prefer not to see any poison spittle.
Even among the others of the Feywild, that was a weird comment. Like, Iris just sort of, but Pawpaw just, my territory must be defended. As long as nothing approaches it, I should be swell. We just must make sure that no living mushroom, nor, well, walking mushroom, I suppose, nor walking satyr finds their way into my protected grounds. Everything must be as preserved as possible, as my master requested some 4,500 years ago.
Mm.
I am also obligated to inform you that should this resort to violence, which I don't believe it will, any attempt to kill me will only result in me returning in 7 days to continue to protect the land, unless the land is completely defiled by that point, in which my soul will be crumpled and banished to the afterlife.
That's very
Master
interesting.
told me to say that.
Well, your master's a smart man for bringing that up. I actually think that I might have the most ideal solution to our problem here. Pawpaw, you're here, so that must mean that you have at least a little bit of freedom to traverse the Feywild as you see fit, within good reason. So, what if, in order to make this the best deal for everyone, make, like they say, many hands make light work, myself, Elna, if she would be willing, Lord Moral, and yourself, Pawpaw, we could go deal with this Corrid. I could cleanse the earth. The mushrooms, those sentient that can move, can live there. You can go back to protecting your grove, and I'll help the satyrs then move on to where they need to go.
My violence must be limited when not on my own terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you can scare the little Corrid into coming onto my turf. I will threaten him, and we will see what happens from there.
I think that's a very good idea.
Oh, and perhaps it has been some 700 years since the boundary was clearly drawn on my master's terrain. Perhaps it would help if I redraw it. And you see Lord Moral just turn around and just... You could have done that. Yes. Yes, do that.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes I like to say that some people are a little bit like fishing nets. You know, sometimes the small things just fall right through. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we forget things every once in a while. And he'll look towards Elna and smile a little bit.
And she'll nod a little bit. And you see like a second of static in her eyes. And she just... Oh, that's that metaphor you brought up earlier.
Yep, there you
Oh,
go.
I think I just got it.
Oh.
Oh, I understand now.
Better late than never, I suppose.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
All right. Do we have an accord?
Well, Iris thinks... Well... Lord Moral, I suppose I have just one question for you. Can my people ever again eat mushrooms? And Lord Moral sort of considers a little bit, turning his head, and he just... Rival tribes. Destroy them. Oh, that just sounds like more trouble. Are there any neutral mushrooms? And he thinks again. Some inferior shrooms spread their spores through digestion. Perhaps they would like to be eaten. Those fools. Oh, that sounds good. We'll find those.
Wow, yeah.
Okay. Sorry for the trouble. Oh, and Paw, how may I get my satyrs back? Yes. Oh, well, I don't really know. You don't know? No, I just banished them.
I think that's something that Elna and I could figure out, right? Getting them back here. We know where the gates are.
Yep. Well, as long as you can sort it out. Like I said, all I really do is get people off the terrain. No idea how to bring them back. I also did just banish them since they didn't seem like, harmful folks. I could have used my poison spittle. And Iris gives him the same face as last time. Oh.
Spittle.
I believe that solves everything.
All right.
How do you feel, Lord? Lord Moral taps his sword a few times. The shrooms shall be pleased. Okay. And Papa? Yes, I will redraw the line. No more banishing satyrs, unless they need to be. Haha. And Elna looks to you and... Well, you just made all that make a lot more sense than I could have. Okay. Well, let's just go chase down a Korrid, I guess.
All right, let's do it.
We should ask about Blossom.
That's right.
Blossom. Anybody? Blossom. Lord Moral just... That's a word for flowers. Well, no, there's a satyr. Blossom. Anybody? And there's just sort of blank stares from the three of them.
They're a very nice person. Wears lots of greens and whites and pinks. They have a pan flute as a shield. They talk similarly to me, just a little bit more high pitched. All around an outstanding person.
Oh. I saw an unfamiliar satyr passing through. They seem to be investigating. I don't know where they went, but they were near the area that the Korrid is in.
Well, that could be very good or very bad. I think it might be best if we head towards that Korrid now. Don't like the idea of her having dealt with that by herself.
Oh. And Elna kind of... Okay. Well, I guess we should be going then. I do think I know the way to that old spot, Iris, so... I suppose we're all settled. How we all feeling? Elder and Lord and Naga? Naga Papa? she just starts chuckling, just... well, sorry, it's just, that's fun. That's really fun, Naga Papa. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, well, Lucien, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Very well, then. She will go ahead and get up and thank you all for this meeting. Thank you, Rue, for the lodge, wherever she be. All right, let's all disperse. Take care of our needs. And she will just nod to you and get ready to start heading towards that spot.
Okay.
Do you have anything else to say to the three weirdos?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm good with heading away from them.
Oh, man. Compliment taken. You eventually get to the torn up patch of woods where this is happening. And we are simply going to do Theater of the Mind. Because what is about to happen is not combat.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But you get to the torn up land, you start seeing the very obvious evidence of something that had been digging deep into the ground and unrooting things and rifling through a bunch of stuff. And you eventually see standing in the middle of this field is a Korrid. This is a creature that you'd be familiar with, Lucien, but they are sort of the Feywild's interpretation, it being a mirror plane. It's sort of the Feywild's interpretation of dwarves. They are similar to satyrs, in fact, in sort of that they have a sort of a cleft hoof and the sort of animalian hairiness and posture and all of that. But Korrids are also, they have long hair that's almost rope-like, and they're actually able to use it like ropes to grapple things and to tear up things in their path as they're digging. They're also a little bit magical, and they're very stone-like. They're able to blend in with rocks and such, and they are known for digging through areas in search of gem and ore, as Iris had said. But more interestingly, you see that the Korrid seems to be speaking to somebody who is just a little bit out of sight.
Mm-hmm.
And they are both speaking common. The Korrid's common a little limited, but it's common nonetheless. You hear the Korrid saying, "No, I will not leave this place until I have 27 rubies, and I only have 5. And you hear an all too familiar voice respond back. "Now, I think if we could just get you 22 other rubies somewhere else, I just think this whole situation could just blow over. All these satyrs can go back. Look, I've just done a little bit of poking around."
Wait a minute.
And
Blossom?
yes,
Blossom, is that you? He's
I-
Gonna
he peeks
immediately
over.
start stomping over towards the Korrid, ignoring the Korrid at this point.
Yep. And the Korrid just, "What the? We were negotiating."
Yeah, well, you can hang out there for just a minute, all right? Slow your roll. Blossom, what are you doing out here?
Oh. Well, hey there.
Well, yeah, hey there to yourself. What is going on right now?
Just, well, I just took. Well, by the gods, is that Elna the Horizon Walker? And she just, much as you ignored the Korrid, just looks over to Elna for a second, and she just, "Oh no, it's okay. We can catch up later. You know, we have business here. Well, no, I know, but you must have done something with your hair since the last time we met."
Blossom.
"Oh, by the trees. You don't
Blossom.
need to say that."
You can catch up with Elna later. What is going on? For one, I go to the inn where you were staying at. Looked like you left in a rush. Then I talked to the Goliath man, that innkeeper, and he said that you had told him that you'd be back in a couple hours. I wait there for 10, 15, maybe 30, 45 minutes, and you don't return. Then I start following these clues, and I hear about a satyr in that fishing village in Yarma, and then I come here, and now you're here. Blossom, there was big stuff happening today. May wanted to talk to you about the shields.
Yeah, I know. And well, look, we still can. We'll just sort this all out and go back. It
I
can't
know,
be but
but-
the evening.
I know, but why are you doing this by yourself?
Well, I don't know. I heard about it. Some rumor, people talking about it when you were at breakfast.
Wait a minute. When I was at breakfast? Oh, were you following me?
No. I heard people bringing it up in the bar, and well, then I went and talked to Silva, and I was able to get here right quick, and it's just not often you hear about another satyr making their way to material plane. I just thought maybe. I might learn a little something about more where I came from.
I understand.
And it's not that
I do.
it's not that life ain't good on the material side of things. It's just, I don't know. I got a little carried away, and maybe I just have a little bit too big of a heart for this whole shield thing, because I just heard that these satyrs were in a little bit of trouble, and one thing led to another, and next thing you know, I am trying to talk to a Korrid in the middle of the Feywild, sorting out this thing between the mushrooms and the Naga.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm here doing. I already talked to Iris and to Lord Moral and to Paw Paw. All right. We got everything settled and everything figured out how we're going to handle things. But I came here on a whim too. But Blossom, the thing is with what's happening, anytime you do anything related to the extraplanar, it's dangerous. Incredibly so. You can't just go off on your own, wandering about, trying to fix these things on a whim, especially when you haven't had as much practice with it as I have. There's always going to be times where you're going to want to get swept away, but you got to pace yourself, all right? Last thing I want you to do is get hurt or get in a situation where you can't get yourself out of. I want you to know I was worried sick about you today. I didn't know what happened, didn't know where'd you go. I mean, what if something had happened to you? Let alone how I'd feel, but Eliza or Theodore?
Yeah. Just got a little bit reckless, I guess.
That happens to the best of us. We just gotta, in those moments, we gotta take a deep breath. Make sure that we're making the right decision.
You know, if you get this worried about me, I mean, is this really what you want me to do? Because, I mean, I worry about you. And you go out and do stuff like this all the time. You're doing it right now.
Hey. No need to worry about me. I know my way around these places. I know the ins and outs like nobody else's business, okay? I've been at it for a long time. And in terms of that, Blossom, at the end of the day, it's not up to me. I know you'd be good at it. I know you could do great things and that you could save people, protect them. Shoot, I even think you'd be better at it than me one day. I do. I really, really do. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. I've seen the way that you look when you help people. And I know that nothing else would make you happier than helping people like this. I mean, look at you. Without any training other than what I've given you, you were able to get as far as I got in what, half the time? I mean, you're good at this, Blossom. If anything, you're a little too good at it.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but... Well... I guess I'll just keep this all in mind if we talk to May today. I don't know. Maybe my heart's a little too big for this whole business, but gotta say, I was actually having a little bit of fun.
That's the scary part about it all. Going to new places, doing things like what we're doing. Not gonna lie, it is pretty fun. I mean, did you get a chance to talk to that pawpaw guy, the Naga?
No, I just got to the edge of his territory and I had to go.
Yeah, he said this thing about poison spittle, and even the satyr looked at him weird. That's how I knew that he crossed the line.
He said the same thing to me. He said he'd have to use his poison spittle.
Yeah, I don't know but I don't know. Like I said, that's why I think you'd be good at it. You have fun doing it. And you get to help people. But suppose we can talk more about that on the way back. Because right now, and now he looks towards the Corrid, and he's going to be like, all right, listen here, mister.
This time.
Yeah, what's been going on?
Just, as you turn to him, Elna just, Lucien, I think, and he just has, like, tiny shovels, and he is just, like, destroying all of the land as you've been, and Blossom's like, well, now, hold on, we're in the middle of a negotiation. Not anymore. I will wreck this land. It will be mine. And he is just digging and digging and digging. And Elna turns to Blossom and says, we have a bit of a chase plan. Chase him all the way to Papa, sort it out from there. And she just, oh, no, that sounds kind of brilliant.
Yeah. Man, I wonder who came up with that idea. Hey, what's your name, little man?
My name matters not. All that matters is rubies. And he's just going.
Hey,
And Elna's like,
wait, you're looking for rubies?
yeah,
Like red rubies?
yes.
How many more did you say you need? 22 more?
Well, now 21.
20. Oh, you found another one. That's great, man. Well, hey, you know what I heard? Right in that direction over there, and pointing towards where the Naga is. Right in that direction over there, maybe if you travel about 15, 20, maybe a little bit longer, I heard there are hundreds of rubies. Hundreds. Yeah.
Well, and I need you to roll a deception check.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah,
Plus 0.
Blossom's the one who maybe should have. You and Elna don't have it. You don't have the gift of gab.
That's okay. Maybe
So
his
we
obsession with rubies will carry me there.
Okay, and let me roll insight real quick.
13. We'll see what happens.
Okay. All right, so he looks to all three of you and he just... It's a trick! It's a trick! You fiends! You gemstone guardians! I must go! I must leave! And he starts running away in the opposite direction. And Elna goes, oh, no, he's just going to come back. Plan chase! Plan chase! We will now enter, I guess, a theater of the mind Corrid chase sequence with the three of you.
All right.
So,
Sounds
this
good.
is all just... He is trying to get away. You just want to lead him in the direction of the Naga. You can use any tool in your tool belt to do so. Just whatever you would like. So, Lucien, right off the top, is there anything that you would do to kind of steer him in the right direction, give chase, get him going toward that way?
Oh, yeah. Just in order to stay caught up with him, let me double check that there's not a spell that I want to use here.
Okay.
No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, no, he's not. Definitely not considered a beast. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, what he's going to do is he's going to immediately start running and be like, okay, now wait a minute. And he's going to use a 4th level spell slot to reach out towards him. And all of these like dangling vines and leaves and branches that are just sort of in his way, he's going to cast Grasping Vine and shoot out from the ground, just sort of wrapping up around him, and is going to try and grab onto and pull him back towards Lucien and be like, all right, now wait a minute, let's head in the right direction if we're going to start running, and is going to try and pull him back in that direction.
Okay, so I need a save of some kind, I assume?
Yeah, DC 17 dexterity saving throw.
Okay. That is a dirty 20. Okay. All right, so the Corrid kind of dives and somersaults and today and just keeps going. Meanwhile, in the back, Elna will cast Long Strider at 3rd level, so everybody's movement has increased by 10 feet.
All right.
So we will just assume with that you are able to keep up and even gain pace on this Corrid.
Okay.
So she's got that, and she is just going to start running. Blossom is going to start running as well. And now I'm going to call for athletics check with advantage.
Oh, that is good, because that's a good number for me.
Nice.
Oh, why did it roll 3 times? What? Okay, well, 18.
Okay, 18, and that is, geez, wow, that is a 25 from the Corrid. So he just and just starts like barreling away at speeds that shouldn't be possible for such a tiny man. He's just huffing it, and he's like stomping the whole way.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Elna has a couple things she could try. Is there anything else that you have at this moment to try to continue to steer him as he's trying to get away?
Yeah. I guess what I'll do then is I will, seeing that like he's definitely starting to pick up the pace a little bit. I'm like, well, that's not all right. And I am going to wild shape. So immediately he's going to kind of like hunch over as he's running and immediately shift from his like tall, 7.5 feet fur bulk, bright red hair to this dire wolf. That has this bright red fur pattern with these streaks of white all along the side of it, with a movement speed of what would be 60 technically now. Is going to be like, he's going to say, all right, I warned you, you should have started running in the right way. And then he's going to wild shape into the dire wolf form. And is immediately just going to just launch himself towards him.
Okay. All right, so you're moving now very efficiently.
Yeah.
No athletic check even really needed at that point, with as much of a speed advantage as you have. This Korrid is just dashing as much as he can. He tries to roll under some roots and branches to get away. Elna is going to cast Wind Wall now.
Oh, nice.
To just create sort of a natural barrier. All right, so we got a wall of strong wind, rises a whole foot thick, 15 feet high, 50 feet long. So she's just going to block off basically the entire path that doesn't benefit him, or that would benefit him. All right, and then when the wall appears within the area, you need to make a 3d8 strength saving throw, 3d8 bludgeoning damage. Small or smaller flying creatures or objects can't pass through the wall. Stuff can't pass. So he can try to pass through it if he wants. He might take a significant amount of damage.
Okay.
So he's going to go ahead and make that strength save real quick. All right. And that does not pass Elna's DC.
Nice.
Because it's high. So... Okay, so the creature takes 3d8 bludgeoning damage.
Bop, bop, bop.
Wow, that was a 5. that was a little disappointing. All right then. Well, he takes 5 damage and he is kind of stumbled back and he starts running the right way that he's supposed to go. Meanwhile, you could probably catch up with him as the direwolf. Do you want to do so, or just continue to steer him?
I want to steer him. Yeah, I don't want to. I want him to think that he's getting away. Just in the direction I want him to go.
Exactly. Okay, that totally makes sense. Okay then. So he is just continuing to run on and on. You are keeping right up with him. Your friends behind you are doing their best to keep up with your dire wolf form. Eventually, Elna is also going to cast... She's got a lot of shit. She's going to cast Summon Woodland Creatures. And she is going to make more dire wolves for the two of them. So they're going to be riding atop dire wolves that appear beneath them in just a puff of mist. And she's going to be like... Blossom jump! And just... and they both just land on top of dire wolves. And so now his poor Korrid is being chased by 3 wolves. 2 of them mounted by people. 1 of them a man. Which is more scary, really.
Yeah.
All right. And he just is going to keep going and going. Doing his best. You just keep chase with him. And he is eventually going to get right up to the spot where you think maybe he's going to start crossing into the Naga's territory. You can see that Papa has very politely started marking the border as he promised he would.
Oh no! It's backfired. He knows.
And so Korrid turns around now as a last-ditch effort, and he is going to try to cast Otto's Irresistible Dance on you, on Lucien.
Oh no.
So, choose one creature, and it is an automatic success, this spell, which is why it's such a high level. So, the target begins a comic dance in place. And a dancing creature must use all of its movement to dance. And you have disadvantage on dex saves and attack rolls. While you're affected on the spell, other creatures have attack rolls against you. And as your action, you can make a wisdom save to try to regain control of your body. And this little dude's DC is 13, so you should be able to do it.
Well, let's not get too carried away.
Yeah, knock on wood, but
I do have a question. Is it creature or humanoid for the phrasing of the spell?
Creature.
Creature. Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that it still applied while I'm in wolf boy form.
Yeah, so you're in wolf boy form, just like cha-cha sliding, just in place. So let's go ahead and roll that wisdom save now, just to see how far behind you are, because Elda and Blossom are definitely going to keep up.
Okay. I get a little bit behind, but it's a 24.
Okay. 24. So you break out, but you are now sort of behind Elna and Blossom, helping as much as you can from the back. You're going to see, as you kind of snap out of it, that the Korrid turns around and gets ready to cast something else. Blossom is actually going to go ahead and use a second level spell, Silence, real quick.
Nice.
Just to make sure. He's just like, oh, no, you don't, little fella. And just, pew! All right, and that is not a save. It's just he can't in that area.
Yeah.
So he loses that time, and in the little moment of fear, rather than try to get out of it and cast it again, he just keeps going. And we are getting toward the end here now.
Okay.
Any last things you do from behind to finally push him into this border and keep him from doing anything else to get away?
Okay, you know what I think I'm gonna do? Just because I know that it'll allow me to scare him, is I'm going to, as a bonus action, drop Wild Shape.
Okay.
Use a 5th level spell slot to cast Tree Stride, which is a 1-minute concentration spell, where I gain the ability to enter a tree and move from inside it to another tree of the same kind within 500 feet.
Yes.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like pop my head out of trees in front of him and be like, oh, nope, not this way, and pretty much try and like scare him into running away towards the Naga's territory.
Roll intimidation, but roll it with your nature modifier.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Bop, bop, bop. Oh, 13.
Okay, that's still, yeah, we'll roll, gonna roll like a wisdom check. Natural 1. Okay, so he just, he's just like flailing and just running in circles. He's eventually going the right way, but he's mostly stumbling around at this point. And
almost got you.
And eventually, just the last little push. He is at the line, but he's about to start running the other way. And let me just check the save on this. All right. Another strength save from the Korrid. He's going to roll it. A second natural one!
Oh, yeah!
Fuck you!
You bitch.
Okay. So he fails Elna. You see her weave her hands and hop off of the dire wolf, and she casts the 2nd level evocation spell, Gust of Wind. And she is just going to whoosh and just send the Korrid a 15 feet just flying close to the border. And the Korrid kind of stands up and looks at the three of you, and he's just like, all right, enough games. You want? Oh, I see you have found your way into my territory. And he turns around, and he sees Papa and his weird human face and 30-foot cobra body hovering on top of him, and he just, I've been told to deliver you a little bit of a message. You need to stop digging in that territory and never come here again. or else I will need to use my poison spittle. And the Korid just sort of, no, that was the best score! The best score I ever had! I will have it! I will! Very well, and he is just going to and spit onto him. And I'm not even gonna bother rolling for today's purposes, but
Yeah.
it's like 12d8 damage. Like,
Yeah.
It's just like the Korid just like and just starts like corroding and eroding. His stony body goes through thousands of years of evolution. He just starts crumbling and cracking and turning into dust as the poison spit makes its way through him. And eventually he just starts melting and crumbling into the ground. And he's just, yes, this is the way it's meant to be. One with the gems. Well, if that's what you say. And just spits on him again. And eventually he is gone. And Papa looks at the three of you and, well, I think that worked out fairly well. Don't cross the line. And he just starts to slither away as if that was nothing important. All right. And with that, the three of you, the strangest team solving the strangest problem, have done it. The Korid is defeated. And in the time remaining, we can easily assume, with the three of you knowing where everybody is, that you can go and talk to Iris and find him a new place. Elna might even be able to help point out a place. Blossom will really help talk it up, using her gift of gab.
Yeah, of course.
And eventually you get to Lord Moral. And Lord Moral is very happy to see that the land is tilled and a proper climate for him, but has not been defiled beyond the point where his spores have something to latch on to. And he's delighted. He claps his sword on the ground in approval. And now, all of you are just going to start heading back.
Yep.
It looks like all is well between Iris and Moral and Papa.
God bless.
And Lucien, God bless. And Lucien, the only unfortunate part about this is that now it is time for Elna and Blossom to start catching up. And if you thought the walk here felt long, oh man, you love them, but wow.
Yeah, this is...
it just goes and goes as they keep talking. But eventually, you do find your way back to Yerma in the evening.
We're
stepping
here.
through the portal.
Oh my goodness, I
Your
thought we'd never
Lucian's like,
arrive. Oh,
Oh, we made it.
holy shit.
And you pop out, and it is the evening. There's still some daylight left.
Oh.
And you get out, and Elna just... Well, it was quite a delight catching up with you, Blossom. I didn't know if I'd ever see you again, busy with all your city things. Yeah, well, you know, it was nice. Nice getting back here. A little bit of an adventure, I guess. You know, we'll, have to talk a little bit more, Elna. It's really been a long time. Oh, yeah. It would really be nice. You know, Lucien and I were just talking about how lonely it gets sometimes being a secret warrior of sorts. Well, I suppose, if you ever need someone to talk to about whatever things you're out there doing in the city and helping people, I'll always understand. And it's not like I'll tell anyone but the trees. And Mr. Rice Pilaf. Hi, by the way. And look over, and Mr. Rice Pilaf has waited calmly this whole time, and he is just sitting there chewing on some leaves and just kind of looks over, just and looks back. And Blossom says to Elna, "Oh, and by the way, I know you just said what you said, but it is really meant to be secret. So this whole thing about the shields, is Elna. You see static hit her face. What's this about shields?
Yeah, I think we're okay, Blossom.
Blossom just kind of nods and. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. It was just a little thing. And Elna just. Oh, okay. Well, suppose I should head back to Yerma. I'll send the rest of those satyrs back. I'll make sure Mayor Albin is all calm. I'll bring him some lavender so he can sleep better. I keep telling him to use it, but... Well, we all have our things. I like plucking leaves and spinning little blades of grass and... Well...
He likes organizing his pencils and stacking coins.
He really does.
Yep.
He really does. Well, I have to say... I've had a lot of dangerous days and a lot of interesting days, but this was one of the more interesting ones in a while.
Oh.
I guess you don't realize how strange and whimsical everything is when you're doing it alone, and then you say it out loud to somebody, and you're like, oh.
Oh, wow, yeah, that is pretty odd, yeah.
Well, it was nice. Oh, and if any of your fancy secret city people ever need help with the Feywild or the Shadowfell, you just keep me in mind.
I'll let them know that.
Around.
Elna. It's good to have allies everywhere.
Aye, of course. Hope I proved myself capable. Oh, and that
More than
reminds
capable.
me, after I send these satyrs back, I do need to actually pop down to the Shadowfell. There's a whole thing with the soul of a vampire that got trapped, and I can't let that one go too long, you know.
Well, of course, yeah. Well, hey, if you need any help, don't want to do it by yourself, you got a friend in me, all right?
She genuinely smiles, kind of warm, and... Say, Lucien, Blossom, I will remember your names.
Oh. Well, I'm touched, Elna. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, there's the bird again.
There they are. Well,
Yeah.
Elna, good luck on your next adventure, and I hope that we see each other soon.
Yes, right. Oh, satyrs, yeah. Okay. Strange day. Fire and water and satyrs and
Grass.
grass.
Yep.
All right. And Elna will mount Mr. Rice Pilaf. He'll kind of grumble, and she'll just, I've been gone all day. You can ride me for a minute. And they will just go ahead and start heading off.
Okay.
And now it's just you and Blossom. And before you start heading back, she'll just... Well, as far as I hear it, May likes to stay up a little late, so maybe we'll catch her at some tavern or something. Still have time.
Yeah.
Look, I really am sorry. I got carried away and...
Listen, you don't gotta apologize, Blossom. You were doing what you thought was right, and you were just trying to... Well, I don't blame you for being curious about everything that happened to you and where you come from. I really don't. It's just being a shield is dangerous. And having a big heart doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means sometimes you gotta be careful. A lot of times, caring for people and having a lot of love for people, it can do more harm than good in some scenarios. So you just gotta be careful is all. I thought that because of the heart I had, I'd messed everything up in my life. I lost someone I really cared about because of it. But then I found you. And you taught me what it could mean to have that love and kindness again. And I realized It's not a bad thing to have that. So few people nowadays have enough of it in their hearts, and, well, Blossom, you are filled to bursting with it. That's exactly what the Shields needs. What these people need.
Well, maybe I'll just have to join to cheer all you folks up.
Yeah, well, yeah. Honestly, having you at tea these few and far between mornings would be quite nice to have somebody who didn't have as much spittle going. There's that word again, right? Come up so often.
I have
Man,
no idea.
today
Not even the
is
slightest.
weird.
Man, fire and water and satyrs and
There's a
grass and
grass,
spittle.
yeah, been very odd.
Oh, man.
Well, let's get back to Verdalka, and let's hope that May's up. Because, needless to say, I think that there's going to be an offer that's coming your way. Provided you want it. Kind of do like one of like you got me, like a Walter White.
Yeah, the hands. Well, might need another night or two to sleep on it. Gonna have to warn Eliza, of course, but
Yeah. Even if
starting to think maybe yeah.
well, I'd be lying if I said that didn't make me happy, but you got to do me one favor if you do join, okay? Before you go anywhere, you do any missions, you're walking your happy ass back to Wexany, not using any of the teleportation magic, none of that stuff, by foot. And you're going to spend a few more days with your wife and your son before you go anywhere else, okay?
That sounds wise.
All right. Good. Can't take that teleportation stuff for granted. You know, back when I started the Silent Shield, back in my day, we didn't have all the teleportation flim-flamming everywhere. We had to walk most places. Teleportation was a luxury.
I get it. You're from the age
Don't
before
you
time.
don't you stop that.
And she's gonna... Blossom will smile, and she'll just give Lucien a big, tight hug.
Yeah. Lucien will return it.
Thank you. Really?
No problem. Not do anything for my little girl. Squeeze her tight.
All right. And that is about where we can zoom out.
Woo!
As the two of you head back, and in the coming days, Lucien, you get wrapped up in shield business once again, attending real missions, most of which are not as fun as this.
Oh, yeah.
And getting back to tea with some of the other older folks in the shields, and trying to teach some of the younger ones how to straighten up and do things right. And you start thinking a little more closely about that whole retirement thing as word comes in that Sarai Farstar is in fact going to retire at the end of the year. And of course, every time you go have breakfast and tea, Vivi continues to encourage you. Charlotte continues to encourage you to get your money's worth. But you find yourself, no matter how long you do choose to stay, Lucien, you find yourself at peace with a few things. For one, you feel like you genuinely made a friend. A strange friend. A friend who is a bit of a yin to your yang, to put it lightly. But a friend indeed. Somebody that you actually have a lot in common with deep down, and somebody that, much like Blossom, learns from you as you can learn from them. And, second of all, word finally does come around after you talk with May talks with you, May talks with Blossom, and you together privately, that Blossom is indeed headed back to Wexeney. Gonna take the normal carriage and her normal feet.
Yep.
Spend some time with her partner and her kid before eventually returning. And in the coming weeks, you are there to witness as she does, in fact, begin her first day of training. And that is where we will end this unique one-on-one episode 3 of the Silent Shield anthology.
Proud dad moment.
That was surprisingly tender at the end.
Hell yeah. You said Rick and Morty. I said no.
I mean, there's
sometimes.
a few Rick and Morty
there was a
like
few,
that.
yeah.
Some are my corpses in the backyard. Whatever that
Oh,
was.
yeah. No, it was good. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. I liked being able to interact with Blossom not being Blossom.
Yeah, I mean, that must have been fun for you. I hope I did her justice.
You did.
I did as much research as I could watching Isles of Avarion clips. And this session, for anybody that is currently watching, this session is, in a lot of small ways, connected to lore throughout all of the campaigns and all of Illica. Yeah. Elna is a prominent character that will return in the Silent Shield and may or may not show up in the 3 campaigns at some point. That obviously is up to Joe, but, you know, I think she's fun.
Yeah, she is. She's a lot of fun, yeah. No, I entirely agree. And
then Blossom is a prominent NPC, as mentioned, in the Isles of Avarion campaign as a shield. This whole anthology takes place a few months before the campaigns. And the final episodes of the Silent Shield will lead up toward the beginning of them. So, yeah. And of course, there's Rue, who I don't know if is anywhere on the archives, but, you know, that's a thing that happened in Illica at some point long ago. So I had a lot of fun with this. Joe, it was so fun DMing you. I hardly get the chance to do that, and it's always a blast.
Yeah.
You are as engaged and fun and like creative of a player as you are a DM. So this was great.
Thanks, Mark. You are as engaging and creative as a DM as you are as a player. Ooh. Turntabled on you. Look at that.
Fire and water. All right. Well,
okay. Well,
before we continue to make noises, I guess, Joe, you should say the closing thing. And...
Yes. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I know I did. Be sure to, if you're watching this on Twitch, be sure to follow. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. There are plenty of Silent Shields, plenty of Illica campaigns DM'd by me, and campaign DM'd by another, Jonathan, for the Tales of Everend. We've got one-shots galore. In the coming weeks and months, there will be a full force return of Roll Call, the RWA talk show, and even more than that, advice videos are coming back to the channel in the coming weeks and months.
Yes.
So
I am hyped for those.
Yes,
for sure.
Exactly. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time.
Ooh, be sure to tune in for session 4 of Rising Ash.
Yes.
On this Tuesday evening, just 2 days from now.
Yep.
The party right now has just finished basically what is considered the exposition half of everything, and they are now ready to start fighting and taking decisive action against some of the factions. So, going to be a lot of fun.
To the brother, man. Alrighty, sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.